and then we'll go off on politics, this or that, but we will make fun of it. This show is about taking the seriousness out of the serious world and seeing it in a new light. Now, Monty and I are coming up, I think in May, we're going to be on our 1 year anniversary.
Yeah. It's been a
1
long year.
Yeah, 1 year of doing comedy shows. And let me tell you something. I have had an incredibly wonderful time going back and forth with Monty, seeing him coming out of the great Q world and becoming the greatest memer in the West. He has evolved to the great Mimi.
Well, interesting. I was only visiting the Q world. I'm not from the Q world, because when I think Q, I think James Bond and Star Trek. So, and also, yes, you can ask questions. Just remember that you may get a comedic answer.
Or a snappy one.
Yeah. So you may not get the proper answer, but it'll be comedic. So just pointing that out.
And this is a show where hermits are uniting. We have our usual crowd of hermits here, and some new people who may not know how the Hermits Anonymous works. So if you are wanting to join Hermits Anonymous, your dues are you must be willing to raise your hand when we tell you to raise your hand and tell us something funny. That's not hard dues. We're not asking you to pay. We're asking you to drop your serious stick and to say something funny.
Yeah, we don't want you to pay $800 so I can tell you about blue chickens.
Exactly. Okay, and we don't want to have why colonics are the king of the world. We want you to chill out, relax, take off some of the serious energy, take off all that junk that's holding you back. Don't worry about this or that. Just chill the fuck out. Pop open a beer, have a drink, smoke a joint. You are entitled to do that for these shows.
Yeah, release the tension, basically, because everything's in life is tension.
Release the kraken of seriousness.
That's a bit Greek. Well, you are Greek, so
yes, I am Greek. I cannot help it.
Kronos and Jupiter and other planets, and but China. So, yeah. Bruce, did you see that actually the spat between the diplomats between China and America?
No, man, I'm on a total news fast. I don't know what happened this morning.
Okay. Basically, they were measuring their penises and they were going back at each other. It's like I spoke to Andrew just before the show. So that's been going on for a while now. It's like, yeah, but now they're doing it in public, where it's like America does not come from a sense of strength and blah blah blah. And it's like it was wham 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 and then wham wham wham. The American diplomat said America's back and we're engaging and we're strong, and China's like, really?
You just had 4 years of Trump and you lost all your face, motherfucker.
You pay now. You pay now.
Yeah, you pay now.
I don't worry about principal, but pay interest now. Boy,
yeah. How is our boy in president? We pay for him many a time before. He owe us. You know, on book, not other book, but this book.
Well.
And now you must pay.
So what got this going, man? What got this diplomatic fight going? In my head now, I imagine Ron Burgundy in an alley with his crew. What took it up a notch? How did it jump up so quickly? What was it about? Anal swabbing?
No, it's from it's the hacking stuff that's coming out.
Yeah, the cyber warfare.
It's the cyber warfare, that stuff that's coming out. Is what it is.
Okay. I have no idea what that's referring to.
What
cyber warfare?
Imagine a digital version of World War I, World War II, and World War III all happening at once. Yeah, quite literally, and that's been going on since like late 2017. And it just gets a little bit more serious, a little bit more serious. Whenever there's an election, it backs off a little bit, then it gets really serious just before the election, and it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And and the thing is, America has wiped the shit out of dozens of Chinese and Korean North Brigade computer defensive brigades, like literally destroys servers that fill up an entire mountain. Then the Chinese come back and hire a couple of people to steal data from Los Alamos laboratory. And it's just this disaster of a digital warfare going on.
Wow.
So basically what you're saying, Andrew, is a Chinese general gets a report. The Yanks have destroyed our secret mountain in Beijing. Oh, really? Release TikTok.
Yes, release TikTok. That will get them going good.
Hey, we have nurses dancing all the time while we take them data.
So, you guys familiar with Stuxnet, the original Stuxnet virus?
Yes.
All right. So right now we're on our 25th generation of Stuxnet.
Come on.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. 25th generation of Stuxnet being run by artificial intelligences that are generating the digital warfare platforms.
Oh, my God.
Right.
So it's like the movies of War Games meets Lawnmower Man. I'm scared when it's going to start turning into Terminator and then The Matrix.
I don't think it'll get that far. I think it'll just hit a certain level, and that'll be the new normal. It'll never end.
Yeah, I also think that the sun will go, that's enough. EMP.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is the new normal, Monty. Like your wife's brother moving in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just 2 weeks.
This ain't a weekend thing, is it, honey?
Right, exactly. Now, the new big thing is the cryptocurrency wars. And right now that they're trying to use the 25th generation of Stuxnet to break all the blockchains of all the big cryptocurrencies simultaneously and do a massive Robin run.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Wow.
It's the big Robin run. It's been done before. It's not the first time blockchain's been cracked. Okay, you can go back to the COINTELPRO, one of the biggest Bitcoin producers out in Japan, $946 million in one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, all the big boys are into crypto now. That means all their AIs are into crypto. And now the Stuxnet generals who are delivering their pawns and kings and troops everywhere are trying to figure out how to simultaneously break all the blockchains.
Unbelievable. And has there been any success?
Oh, absolutely. The thing is, whenever there's a success, there's another way to rewrite the success as a failure. There's a counter move to the counter move to the counter move, and we're all moving at the highest levels of digital response speed.
Yeah, you see this, I tell you, this whole digital economy has always just sort of struck me as digging a hole to fill it back in. It's like prison labor, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. When I heard the energy metrics for mining Bitcoin, like how much energy it took to run the computers and everything, I thought, my God, it's almost like a legitimate business. They have costs, but everything is in the ether, right? It's all just in the digital nomad land. Mm-hmm. I don't trust it at all, boys. I don't trust it at all. My advice to intelligent young listeners out there now is get yourself some land.
That's right.
Get yourself some land. Get yourself 10 acres, man. You need 5 friends to buy it.
Physical
get a job in San Francisco. Go get an apartment and keep working. Send money back to the farm and then do that for 2 years. Let someone else go work and enjoy the farm. But you've always got a base to go back to that is stable and can provide all human need.
Right.
You can tell Bruce is a father. It's like, you can be, if you can follow, you can be a rock star, but have something to fall back on. Have a plan B. You want to be a comedian? Fine, but finish your degree in neuroscience. That's all I'm saying, son.
Yeah. So, but it's go ahead.
With the blockchain wars that are going on, we have the politicians breaking down and having temper tantrums at the tables now. That was the original premise of what was going on here. And we now will have major issues going on with the vaccine rejection. So Europe came out and said the vaccine's fine. And then they did a study of a whole bunch of Europeans who said, we don't believe you. They've completely lost face. 17 European countries have now banned the AstraZeneca jab. Okay, and now Biden's trying to send his remaining AstraZeneca jabs to Mexico, where no one's going to take it. Okay.
Yeah, Australia's doing the same thing. Like we're having problems without rollout, and there's all these issues with it from Europe, but we're sending it to Papua New Guinea because we're nice people. Right.
Why is the response to the vaccines so varied? And is there a lot of hyperbole on the negative side now? Are they overstating injury and death or?
No. First thing first, we have to call the anti-vaxxers out for fear pointing a lot of stuff. The original premise of anti-vaccines was that the dose that a 60-year-old person and a dose that a baby gets is the same size. There is no differences in dosages. They also do not do a hormone test on a baby before they give them a dosage. And every kid should have a different dosage level based off of their weight level. And they're giving kids 22 vaccines by the time they're 3 years old. They're not spacing them out. And it's all about cost effectiveness. Okay. Now that is the failure of vaccines. And I'm going to hit the anti-vaxxers right in the nuts where it hurts them the most. If they wanted to change your DNA, there are far cheaper ways of giving you a vaccine that they can do it. It's called your water source, dummies. Your food, the air that you breathe,
chemtrails,
the cell phone you put up next to your brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you think it's full of nanobots, I'm sorry, you're fucking loony.
Yeah, in the first world, anyways, I think that it's got to be like less than 2% of people who filter their own water. Everybody's coming off a major municipal run water treatment center now. It's that crossed my diabolical mind years ago, Andrew. Like if you really wanted to do damage, the water supply would be the place to do it.
Okay, that's the way they alter everything. Okay.
Yeah.
And some councils here in Australia say you need a license to collect rainwater because, from their point of view, the council owns the rainwater.
Right.
Yeah.
So now that I've hit the
Bond villain level.
Now that I've hit the anti-vaxxers right in the nuts, let me hit the vaxxers in the nuts too. What are they doing? They think the average normal stupid sheeple human will accept a vaccine that's created in 8 months. We're talking
sus.
We're talking 200 or 400 million doses plus the research in 8 months. That's why all the big governments have lost credit.
Yeah.
Okay. There weren't enough virus movies out there to scare us.
Yeah, and the media is pushing the anti-vaxxer thing as well, because there are people that, like, I'm up to date with my vaccines. I follow, I look at the science, and if it's done well, it's all perfect. But I'm a bit wary about the COVID vaccine because it's only been 8 months and it's been rushed through. The media goes, "Oh, you're an anti-vaxxer." That whole divide and conquer, the whole narrative. It's like, if you question the mighty vaccine, you're lumped into it. It's like, well, people are dying or what, blah, 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 because they just think one shot cures all. And it's like, we're not all the same, luckily.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to hit the anti-vaxxers in the nuts again. For all you anti-vaxxers who say, do your research, bitches, you've never done your research. You want to know why? You have never gone and read the Supreme Court rulings that come out of the EU about the MMR vaccine, or the Italian Supreme Court, or the French Supreme, or the German Supreme Court, where they ruled exactly the dosage levels is what I just said, and that the big pharmacopoeia companies had to pay damages. Here in the United States, pharmacopoeia has laws that make them immune to that stuff. There are hundreds of lawsuits through Europe that have already proven what's wrong with vaccines. Okay? So bitches, do your real research and go and read the law papers.
I get called an anti-vaxxer because I want higher safety standards on vaccines, which baffles the mind. Like, well, what do you think of vaccines? Oh, we should have higher safety standards. Oh, you're anti-vaxxer. Bit of a jump. It sounds a bit flat earth, the earth is flat, so God exists. Like, what chasm of faith are you jumping here? And I always start with, vaccines work on paper for me.
No,
but
vaccines do work. The thing is, you have to have the right blood test as a child that determines your hormone level, because it's the hormone levels that make them have a bad reaction to it.
Well, yeah, it's like sometimes you don't put sometimes you don't put gasoline into a diesel engine.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, well, you're being a farmer, you'd know exactly like you need.
Yeah, I've actually done that, Monty. That's fine. That's how I know.
Yeah, that's a fun. It's a fun lesson. I'm like, crap.
Yeah. Yeah. So that vaccine rollout's real slow too, right? It's causing a lot of mental frustration. Like I have a lot of friends that they just want to get it as soon as they can and get back to what they think is going to be normal.
Well, you're trusting a government to roll out a mass vaccination program when it can't even run itself.
Yeah, and they still say like, once you have the vaccine and the booster, you still have to wear masks and social distance.
Right.
And people are asking, well, why are we having the vaccine then? Well, because the story was we get the vaccine, herd immunity, humanity can move forward. And we're not seeing that because, as David I keep saying, we are ruled by psychopaths and run by idiots.
Exactly.
And remember, a psychopath is a high-functioning idiot.
And on top of that, the vaccine doesn't make you immune to the mutant strains that are killing everything right now. So this vaccine, and if you talk to the real people that have done the real research, it probably only has a 35% success rate on the people that it will affect. It will affect, meaning for the vast majority of the mutations. The rest of the people have a mutancy in their DNA or some odd DNA rungs where they can't produce the antigen. And the antigen is going to determine if your immune system is going to fight off the sickness. And that is why we are not seeing this disease burn itself out. It's common for viruses that go through rapid and multiple mutations. They lose their genetic material, and then they can be taken care of by any common immune system. What we're seeing is it getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger.
Now, is that part of the, how do you describe it? It's a time-traveling karma-based resolution virus. And of course, you say that to anyone wearing a white coat and like, I know the word virus. I don't know all the other ones. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Time-traveling karmic debt vehicle retribution virus. I'm doing it all bubbled up anyways.
But that's still, I do like, you did mention that it's gone off planet. And I think, and how the company doing the loosh, it's like, this is tainted. What are you doing?
Right. It's going after the people that are holding the black market loosh stocks.
So what is as a galactic historian, what is the galactic response to COVID coming out of Earth? Because weren't we supposed to be quarantined or some crap? But
so imagine a being who hasn't had to have a physical body in 20,000 years suddenly having a butt pucker moment. Okay? Exactly. Suddenly, a thing that's completely non-physical gives them a physical response because they're realizing you don't need a body to get this virus. It can jump to just your light body.
Yeah, that prime creator's a smarmy little prick, isn't he?
Exactly. It's like, you think I'm flawed? I may have made a few mistakes, but deal with this, guys.
I was bored. It was a weekend. I finished reading Lord of the Rings. I thought I'll create COVID.
I had a long drunken sexual affair with Earth Mother, and we came up with this virus. Okay? Earth Mother, I love her. She's my woman.
Well, coming off the ecstasy and having pillow talk, and the viruses came up, and
one thing led to another, and the next thing you know, we made a time-traveling karmic retribution vehicle virus, just to fuck with the cabal.
And also, and then Earth Mother allowed it to leave her planet just to, discourse compared for people to have a look at the cabal on Earth. It's like, where did this come from? Earth, that bloody cabal again.
Yeah, it's gotten some attention, eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Eddie is asking, can planets have sex? Yes.
Can what?
Planets have sex? Yes.
Yeah, not like humans physically. You don't see Mars sliding up to Jupiter. Hey, baby.
Well, that would be a gay relationship. It'd be
Nothing
more
wrong
like,
with that.
are you ready for me?
So is that why Venus is between Earth and Mercury? Like, yeah,
That's
all
right.
you two stay the fuck away from each other.
Exactly. Stay the fuck away from each other. So yes, there are celestial swingers groups and all that.
Yeah, I do like the people say that the solar system looks like an atom. So, like, well, if you look at it one way, but even our solar system's fucked because Venus goes the wrong way, Mars is dead, Eurectum or Uranus, whatever that one's called, is on its side, and Pluto is a planet. Then it's not. Then well, people think Pluto is schizophrenic. I'm a planet now. I'm a planetoid. I'm a planet. I'm a planetoid, and that's what there's 66 planets in this. Yeah. Is that different sizes? Like, is Cryon classed as a planet, or it's just like 50? What is it? 57 planets are all hidden. Is it on? Are they in the 3D? What are the how many planets are in the 3D?
They're beyond the Oort cloud where we can't see, and there's a binary star system. Okay. And there are some planets stuck going between the binary star system that are right on the edge of the Oort cloud. Okay. So you have to visualize a double figure eight of planets going through the rotational process, but our planet's stuck on this side. That's why it's the Galactic Ascension machine.
Yeah, so it's a
filtering
waltz.
it out. It's a filtering it out process. Yep.
So where's the Oort cloud? Is that on the outside of Pluto, or am I thinking
it's beyond that? It's way beyond that.
All right, okay, yeah. Which makes sense, and also because if the sun is the gravity center, that would make sense because science is we're unique because we're singular. But if we are binary and there's a massive connection between the two suns where it's far enough away where we don't see it, then you sort of got it's a binary system, but they've got their own system. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's not that it's far enough away that we can't see it. It's blocked by the Oort cloud. Now, the other aspect of the binary system has their version of an Oort cloud, but they have an inner ring and an outer ring. And then you have our outer ring and our inner ring. That's why it's blocked out.
Okay. So what is there? I've gone mirror, like in Star Trek, the mirror universe. There's there's Bizarro world on the other side of thing, and there's a group of people looking outwards, going, "Are we the only planet here?"
I'm sure there is. So somebody had sent me, Robert had sent me a message from somebody who wanted to know what's the comedy version of the reset. It's not happening. That's the comedy version.
Yeah, that's
You're
the
all
joke.
getting played. Yeah. That's the joke.
Yeah, but Carl Schwab's nickname is Anal Schwab. So he got to China all the time. China.
Swab.
Yeah, what I find fascinating is apparently China's giving anal swabs to foreigners. And is that the worst business decision for tourism? Or are they trying to go for that pink dollar for the homosexuals?
You know why they're doing that? This will fuck over those stupid Americans. We're gonna anal swab them.
Yeah,
it's just the whole visual of it, like the public relations behind it is we don't take orders from anybody anymore, and we'll show you. We're gonna make these guys bend over and take an anal swab, and they're the most powerful country in the world.
You think TSA are bad? You come here. We show you how to really feel evasive.
Okay, and what's America gonna do now that they're gonna Stuxnet them again? We're gonna destroy 500,000 servers in one night, and there's some Chinese general. Why damn you? Why you anal swab? You killed my servers.
Release TikTok 2.
Right, and then TikTok 2 comes out.
Jesus, I sure am glad we have a competent steward like Joe Biden to fight this battle.
Yeah, Joe who can't tackle stairs, has insulted Putin who wrestles bears. A bit of Dr. Zeus for you there.
You know he means business if he goes on a China trip with his dogs, Monty.
Yeah, or is that canine training? It's like, okay, now if you don't listen to Daddy, I'll leave you here to be eaten.
Sick Chinese balls, Chopper.
All I heard was sick ball. I like that film. I haven't read the book, but I like it. I have read the book actually. What's that called? What's that? Stand By Me. I like that film.
Oh yeah. That's actually, I'm not a huge Stephen King fan, but that quartet of novellas he did was absolutely brilliant. I have to tip my hand. All his best movies come out of that one collection of novellas.
Yeah,
Apple,
yeah.
Stand
Three of
By
them have
Me,
been. Yep. And
what am I
Shawshank.
missing?
Shawshank.
Shawshank Redemption. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and that's the only Stephen King book I've ever read in my life.
Yeah. Well, you could read his tweets and look how insane he is. If you want some comedy, Rob Reiner. He's not trying to be funny. He just is funny. Where isn't it great that we can go to bed crying because Donald Trump's not president? It's like, well, the crying part, I believe, but like there are that many people that they thought Trump was, Satan looks up to Trump and the world's in danger. And they got rid of him. And I wake up every day feeling new in America. And it's like, it's been 2 months. And have you seen what Biden's done to America? Gasoline's jumped by $2. Unemployment's going up. And
that was coming anyways, whether Trump was in office or not. All that was going to come anyways. That was coming.
Yeah, but you're not thinking like the mainstream media where any problems you blame the sitting president. That's how it works, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But I'm trying to help people understand all that was going to come anyways. Okay.
Yeah.
When you start just blame the sitting president, you don't actually get the reason why. And it's not that the failures that Trump had. It's because we had an OPEC oil war between Saudi Arabia and Russia, where oil went to negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
We pay you.
Nobody ever really explained that to me. That situation we ended up in like year 4 of the Trump administration, where there was oil sitting in shipping depots, and the companies were paying companies to take the oil from them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it's something that's economically, according to the laws of economics, never supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, well, but it did.
Was it 2019 that America was finally in energy independent since 1957?
I don't believe that.
Well, yeah. Welcome to Earth, where there's a lot of information. Who knows what the fuck it's real or not? Battling timelines. So I realized this week I've gone from Stan's really to more of a and I think the next step is meh.
Meh. Exactly. Meh.
Yeah. I'm creating my own reality. I'll change my belief engine, and I will just start going meh. Okay. And also I've got the Obi-Wan philosophy. Cut me down and I become more powerful than you can ever imagine. And I think that's why the dark side leaves me alone, because it's like, well, yeah, we don't want to wake him up like spiritually, because he'll go to the other side and get Super Jesus to come and beat the crap out of you. Oh, did you know Easter on the Easter Friday, Black Friday, Good Friday is, I think, the 2nd of April. It's also a full moon, so beware werewolf Jesus, ladies and gentlemen.
We're gonna have to
coming. Yep.
We're gonna have to have a funeral for the baby Jesus pretty soon. I don't think this second coming is. I don't think it's happening. I think it's a stillborn here. We need to end this psychologically. It's tormenting the Abrahamic world.
He was aborted a while ago.
Yeah. Well, note to future generations: never construct a religion with time-delimited prophecies. It's a powder keg waiting to go off.
Besides, if Jesus did come back today, it would be canceled Jesus. Nobody would ever believe him.
Yeah. He'd be like Tony in a tent down in that Portland faux city.
Exactly. And they're trying to give everyone wine and fish, and then the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms comes out and goes, "Where are you getting this wine from? It's got no tax stamp on it." They arrest his ass.
Yeah, there you go.
My father loves you. Get away from me, you fag.
Then they throw him into jail, and he'd become a Muslim.
Yeah.
Hey, I know Mo. He's a lovely chap. All that, that marrying your children, that's been blown out of proportion. That's all fake news.
Indeed.
I am Jesus. I'm Jesus, and so is my wife.
Hurry up and blow up the world, God, or I'm gonna stop believing in you.
Yeah, that Bill Hicks thing, the evangelicus. Tell me when, Lord. Tell me when. Oh, did you see that? Apparently, Boris Johnson, who looks like he looks like a bad version of Trump. It's like someone's trying to, an 8-year-old's trying to draw
No.
Spider-Man.
That guy looks like, you know what that guy is? He's a Muppet fluffer. That guy. That's what he is.
Muppet fluffer.
Yeah, with all the COVID and the restrictions and the lockdowns, he's decided to let's buy some more nuclear weapons because it's our moral standing. Because apparently blowing up the world 8 times is not enough. He's got to go up to 10. Now I'm a bit of a thinker. I think once is enough. Boris,
what's going?
The
They're
United
increasing
Kingdom
their nuclear arsenal in 2021.
Yep.
Yes.
Are nuclear weapons even relevant anymore?
Absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
Well, for the economy, yeah.
You know what for? What are
No.
nuclear weapons relevant for? Brinksmanship.
Yeah.
That's it. Brinksmanship.
Big dick
Brinksmanship
swinging.
is still a form of controlling the world. Have we had another moment like it's been like the Cuba incident since then? No. Why?
Well, there is one hinted in the 80s, but I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, isn't that part of the narrative to sort of have fear running in the background? So there's all that background loosh, if I could say it that way.
No, the Cuban Missile Crisis did more to awaken people to the false reality than it did to scare them, and that's why there hasn't been another high-level brinksmanship like that.
Yes, yep. We're on the same page. But that makes sense. You don't want people waking up like, we don't need to blow up the world 16 times. Kind of weird. Jesus, he does look like a Muppet.
He's a Muppet fluffer.
Yeah, he gives a lot of hand jobs.
A Muppet fluffer gets them warmed up.
Well, according to Disney Plus, the Muppets are racist. So, we're still allowing to show it, but we want to start a conversation.
Oh my God, I don't even want to talk about that. Race in the 21st century. Does anybody even have a race anymore? Like, I don't really I'm Scottish, French, Irish, and I think about, I don't know, like 1/12 Native. Does anybody even have a race anymore? I mean, the last great homogeneous societies are Japan, Korea, and China. China's done, thanks to Mao Zedong's one-child policy. I can't remember if that was Mao or Deng who started that. Maybe Deng Xiaoping, but they're done because they have to import women to breed now, so they're going to lose the integrity of their racial identity.
I think the Eskimos or Inuits, however you want to say it, they're probably the purest race on the planet, which I like to point out to Nazis or white supremacists. Like, we're pure. No, you're not. But I mean, even with the Atlanta shooting, where the media is pushing, it's race. But the guy had it was a sex issue type thing, and I saw something on Instagram.
What's that now?
Well, basically,
I'm on a news fast.
A complete nut job went to 3 massage parlors and shot 8 people dead, and 6 of them happened to be Asian. So the media is ramping it up as saying, "Oh, this is racism," but he actually has said, "No, my motivation was it was a sexual problem, whatever it was." And it was an attack on sex workers, basically, but they're pushing the race narrative. So
none of those shops were sex worker shops, though. That's the thing. They were normal massage parlors. 2 of them even had men working at them, total professional people.
Yeah, well, see, he's a nut bar, so get your things right. But it basically, you see, when you should, I translate it in my head where it's like, white man kills 8 Asians. All I see is human kills 8 humans.
That's too much logic.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Here I am thinking.
There you are thinking again. Damn you! You gotta be a white sheep, Monty. Come on, no more black sheep stuff.
I'm bad.
I was gonna I was gonna ask if it, his issue was some kind of moral-based religious issue with sex for sale or the price, but
No,
my
he had a porn addiction, and the day before he did the shootings, his family kicked him out because he had a sex addiction and had gone to several sex addiction rehab clinics, similar to drug rehab clinics, and was in a variety of halfway houses. And he had come home finally and got kicked out. And he just decided to go on a killing spree because he couldn't control his sexual urges. And his belief
Jeez.
was, I'm just going to go and kill all the sex workers.
By
Unbelievable.
going to businesses that don't have sex workers. So genius.
Well, in his belief, all massage people are sex workers because it's a religious concept behind him too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Some of those
That's
Southern
good.
Baptist religions get a little extreme in some of their definitions.
I actually shared a meme, which is about memes, a couple of days ago. How was it? The only way I find out what happens as a major event is if someone says something about a major event, unless I've seen a meme about it, I don't know it exists. And so that's where you're at, Bruce. Where did you see the news? I'll wait for the memes and then I'll find out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch it anymore. It's so ludicrous. I mean, I was with it right up until the election, right? And then I said, okay, that's it, Bruce. I mean, you don't need to watch this stuff anymore. I keep up on the major issues. What I do to supplement because I don't want to become ignorant and reading a few New Yorker, Atlantic Monthly, and a high-end American magazine publication articles, just to see, okay, what are they really thinking about these days beyond the headlines? But the day by day, man, that's some kind of like medieval Catholic masochism, watching the news on a daily
right.
basis now.
Exactly. Straight up whipping themselves.
Yeah,
And there's such a huge population of the elderly in America. The news channel is on 24/7 in their home.
yeah.
Morning, noon, and night.
My parents are like that. I call for just a hello, how you doing? And it's just like an hour of like it's like nonstop. Justin Trudeau this, Justin Trudeau that, and I'm just thinking to myself, man, whoo, that's bad in old age, right? Like, I mean, why would you, at that point in your life, pollute yourself with a bunch of worldly issues? Doesn't make too much sense to me.
Because they grew up with a civic living mindset.
Yeah, they had the papers back in the day, but now news is 24/7 pumped into the TV, and so not addiction, but that thought, the construct is now, well, we can get news all the time. And once again, Bill Hicks said this back in 1990. I don't know if you've watched CNN for 12 hours a day. I wouldn't recommend that, but it's death, famine, AIDS, death, famine, AIDS. Then you look out your window, where's all this shit happening?
Right. Not by you.
Yeah. And then, of course, I think Ted Turner is not, Jane Fonda's not fucking Ted Turner. So he makes up all this stuff. By 1993, everyone will die of AIDS. If I'm not having sex, no one can.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say we lost all semblance of balance when they quadrupled the MBA programs in the 80s. And then it just went crazy from there. We don't talk to each other so much as sell stuff to each other, and, especially in North American society. Took me a while to shake that up here too, and you stand out like a sore thumb. But it is a world, a solar system, and a galaxy, and a universe of commerce. So exchanges are extremely important, but the foundation of our exchange is so corrupt now. It's like radioactive. It goes through everything, right? You just think about the last time somebody told you the truth. Like anybody, like a friend that is like, especially when you're doing business, especially like when you're looking to invest in something or something like that. Everybody's always selling. Nobody's going to tell you the downside about something. Nobody's going to tell you just what exactly is going on. It's just, and it's invaded everything. It's invaded our education. It's invaded our medicine. It's invaded just all of our institutions and put them into this, what do we call it there, Monty? The satanic flip, the satanic inversion. the
Yeah.
Black Mirror, everything's upside down. It's
Yeah, and
Upside
that's
down.
what,
ridiculous.
Upside
And
down and inside out. And Alan from the chat room said it's a world of toxic infomercials.
Yeah,
yeah, and
Yeah.
my issue with the planet, solar system, galaxy, universe is like everything's business. I'm like, I reach back to my God spark and was like, I don't like this. I just want to have fun. Why is everything business? I like to point out you can get away with anything on the planet, but you have to pay the debt. That's the only thing that cannot be ignored on every level. You have to pay the debt, even including the Ponzi scheme that is the Federal Reserve of like, we killed someone, you've done something, but you owe us money. You have to pay the debt. And I find that's the only sort of law on this planet. Pay the debt. And I'm like, no, especially if it's made out of thin air, where the Fed crap. Anyway, it's a comedy show.
So I'm gonna interject something, a different topic for just a second here. And I was having a private conversation with a friend earlier this week. And when the 2008 scandal hit and that one banker that was a part of the 2008 scandal went to jail, except for Bernie Madoff, who had nothing to do with the 2008 scandal. He just ran a pure Ponzi scheme and had been running it for nearly 20 years. And guess what?
Yeah.
He didn't get Epsteined. So why is Madoff still alive and Epstein dead?
Well, his name, it's in the name. He made off.
Okay. Because he was protected.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? He was protected because he would have brought down what?
The entire system?
No. The regulators. Who what he was doing, and we're all paid off.
There's a lot more to Madoff, though.
Yes. Oh, there's a lot more to him.
That's not a one-dimensional story. He was controlled by the Mossad. That he was an Israeli front. They had people in Toronto operating on his behalf as well. And
right,
I learned this working with Bob. Bob met the Toronto guy, and that was a total Mossad thing. And so he was protected. I mean, he did have to go to jail. It was devastating. His son committed suicide. I mean, it's not a pleasant thing he's been through. But but something even more important got said there that I just sort of skated over. So Epstein's really gone.
Well, that's debatable.
Yeah, from what I saw,
I think he's dead. I personally think he's dead.
Well, what I found interesting, the body they wheeled out didn't seem to look like him, but it's just from a photo. But he could have been, he may have not died in the cell, but he's probably dead now, if that makes sense. But once again, that's just conjecture.
I think the body they wheeled out was him.
Mm.
I think they had one window of opportunity to kill him and they took it.
Yeah. Which was done really badly because everyone's like, right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And guess what?
Yeah.
We really only see one Epstein event per generation. Is that right? Somebody who's super famous that dies off really fast that's supposed to do something. Because, what's his face? Assange is still alive. Okay. I mean, there's quite a few people who are still alive that didn't get Epsteined.
Yeah, it's similar to the drug running like in Asia to Australia. Probably once every 10 years they capture someone so it looks like they're doing their work. Like there was Barlow and Chambers in the 80s. They were caught smuggling heroin, and then about a decade later there was another person, even Chappelle Corby, if you're familiar with that. She was allegedly she was smuggling marijuana into Bali. It's like, really? It's like, trying to smuggle cocaine into Panama. Why? Why? What are you doing? And also, marijuana is pretty low on the totem pole in Bali because you can buy mushrooms over the counter basically there. So it's the governments they find a sort of patsy to look, we're doing stuff, but they let everyone else go through. Especially when you've got Marines guarding poppy fields in Afghanistan. Nothing sus.
Okay. So I want you all to think back we had that Russian guy who got the radioactive pellet put in him that died in London. What was that, in 2017 or 2016?
I believe he lived, Andrew. I believe he and his daughter lived. I could be wrong.
No, he died. That was
Oh, he died.
another one that lived. That was more recent.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Polonium. Yeah. The first guy, he died. And then like 6 people that came in contact with him died also.
Yeah.
The polonium poisoning. So, and he was going to reveal a lot about the Russian KGB and the stuff that was going on, and he got Epsteined.
Yeah.
Now, let's look back at history. What other things do we remember about the last 25 years in history, going back, let's say, to 1995? What other Epstein type things were done to people?
Okay.
Princess Diana.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
she was Epstein.
Total ritual, including the monument they built for her in Oxford. What was going on with all those? I'm not going to do an individual. I'm going to choose a group as an entity, okay, with similar parameters and characteristics. What was with all the banker deaths? When was that? About 2014? Like every other week, one of them was falling off a building.
Well, one was found hanging from a bridge. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So that was 2015 to 2017, and then it was stopped. So whoever was doing it stopped reporting it, but it got up to over 360 bankers of vice presidents and vice presidents around the world that died. Yes. Yeah.
So and then another one I'll add, also in the grouping motif. It's not you ask for Epstein's, but this is kind of the same concept, but not individual.
It is.
So the mysterious deaths of all the microbiologists as well, and I think this one was about 12 years. There are so many things on my list, Andrew, that it just sits there in the back of Bruce's database, and I go, one day I'm going to get an answer to that question. What the hell happened to all those microbiologists?
Well, Amanda actually pointed out in the last 4 or 5 years, there's a lot of health doctors being taken out, or they happen to.
Naturopaths, yes.
Yeah. Oh, I've discovered this cure for everything. Oh, I've fallen down some stairs, even though I live on a single-story house. Or I shot myself in the back of the head with a shotgun twice. You know, like I was a suicide. Have you ever tried to shoot yourself? Well, obviously I haven't. But I mean, how can you get the second shot off? Like if you've been shot in the back of the head once. Okay.
Max Spears, Epstein.
Yeah. Now, what was the thing with Spears? What was he doing?
I can't answer that publicly.
Okay.
Causes too much of a.
Show's over, folks. Thanks for joining us.
We'll just go to our breakout room. See us in 2 weeks.
Bruce want answer now.
So without, yes or no, he knew something. That's basically it.
I can neither confirm or deny that. No comment.
Well, he's dead. That's so
no comment.
But we live forever. I've seen it in the Highlander movie.
Whoa. That's only one Highlander.
One. Yeah, played by a Frenchman.
There can be only one.
Now
they make 4 movies though.
Now back to the Epsteiners. Okay. Now we just talked about the bankers that were dying, the Chinese generals that were dying off too. We don't remember that one. Yeah, the big purging of the Chinese generals that were robbing the People's Army of money left and right, suddenly ending up dead. Okay. Now, a whole bunch of people have died in the last 7 years, Epsteined. Let's look to the future.
No.
Let's just postulate everyone here. What's the next thing that they're going to make the mistake, and the next type of Epsteinism we're going to see?
I don't know anything about that. But I will tell you, the Democrats are doing a better job of trumping people than Trump did. They're getting rid of Cuomo. They're getting rid of Newsom. I mean, it's like I'm looking at Biden and Harris and going, hey, my guy was supposed to do that.
Right. This is why I'm asking, are we going to see another Epstein?
I don't think they'll.
Imagine if Gavin Newsom. No. Imagine if Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, suddenly had a car accident. You don't think us conspiracy people go, he got Epsteined?
Yeah, well, that didn't Breitbart get taken out because
Yep.
if you've got the certain level of car, even my car's like 2003, it's probably got about 4 computers in it, and I've actually seen a video of I think it was a 2016 BMW, and someone hacked it with one of these. They had an iPad right next to it, and they hacked it and took over its driving. So, I mean, if they want to take someone out, they can. And I think, like, people probably want Trump to be Epsteined, but in the power play shuffle, Trump's more dangerous, not more dangerous. He's better alive because he can be used. You know, like now he's not Hitler, but the reason that the Allies kept Hitler alive at the end of World War II because Hitler was losing the war for Germany, and so there's that sort of power play. Also, you don't want to turn Trump into a martyr because you can see the love for Trump now. Imagine if he was taken out and for a century. We're doing this for the Don.
It's a lot of loosh, Monty. A lot of loosh.
Oh yeah, well remember when
now, right? That's a big payday for some interdimensional, intergalactic type commerce people.
Yeah, well remember when Robin Williams transitioned, and I don't know if he did it himself or he was coerced or whatever, but the knock-on effect, because he was such a beloved comedian and human being, and he was quite nice. He survived drugs, but I believe the story is he started to get Parkinson's or something, and that's
Lewy body's dementia.
Yeah.
So he started literally fading in and out of time and completely losing control of his natural capacity to be himself.
Yeah, and you know what, that type of mind, to see his mind working on stage, that massive shock for him. The interesting thing is the outpouring of grief because Robin passed, the amount of loosh they got from that.
Right. There's a lot of loosh from that.
Yeah.
Now, people are saying Michael Jackson, he wasn't Epsteined. No, it was just his time to go in the ritual sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. His number got picked in the ritual sacrifice.
Because he was doing a comeback. He had that massive history show. I mean, I haven't seen the footage, but they actually recorded him doing rehearsals for the new tour, and then he died, and that's fueling the whole thing. I mean, there's still people. Now, from what I've seen, the evidence, Razor Fist on YouTube's gone through it, and it doesn't look like he did the things with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But still people today basically joke about, oh, Michael Jackson is a pedophile, and only because the idea comes from the media.
Yeah, they smear.
And Prince as well seemed to slip off the mortal coil at an interesting time, because I've seen video of him talking about chemtrails, and he's just doing that observation thing of like, it's fascinating where you're in a neighborhood and everyone's getting on really well, and then this straight line of a cloud goes across, and then 20 minutes later, everyone's angry. And he was only questioning. He wasn't saying, oh, geoengineering, everything, blah, blah, blah. And he seemed to go as, mind you, it could be just record companies trying to make money, because Sony wanted the Michael Jackson catalog to make money from it. And Prince, I think, was with Warner Brothers. And Prince has recorded up to 60 albums worth of material. And that's just sitting in a vault. And so they're waiting for the right time. And you can see the business model, because they still release Elvis records, Beatle records. I mean, 2 of them, well, maybe 1.5 are still alive. Even who's the other one? Oh, I've gone blank. Jimi Hendrix. They keep finding shows, and so the business model is not to release everything at once, is to stagger, which kind of sucks. But here's one song that he played in Baltimore once, and we'll release that 60 years after it actually happened.
I'm looking for something.
It's ugly.
All right. So the last time we had an American senator who died /Epsteined was 2014, October 22nd, 2002. Senator Paul Wellstone, along with 5 passengers. And then he got elected because his name was still on the ticket. The dead guy got elected. That's the last time we had an American senator assassinated. Okay?
Is that when they said that the plane lost compression and everyone died asphyxiated, but the plane just kept going for hours and then finally fell?
They were all murdered. Now
Yeah.
there was some other senators who have had questionable deaths. It's not like they were car accident or anything. They died from sicknesses and shit like that, which is very easy to sneak into a hospital and kill somebody if you just watch any of the Bourne movies. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That shit does happen. But the last time I personally realized that there was an assassination of an American senator, are we going to see senators and congressmen fall out of the sky? Epstein for not towing the party line. I believe we will in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
I believe we are going to see at least one more Epstein. And now it's a matter, do they bungle it real bad and the news agencies have to report it? Because think about it, when Epstein dies, the agencies didn't want to cover it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Well, even now, like, when did Epstein go? Was it 2018?
Yeah,
2018.
about that.
Yeah, because 2020 is like the year out of time in a certain way. In 2019, the Australian Grammys, which are called ARIAs, the hip hop group that won, called Hilltop Hoods, even just said as a joke, "Oh, and Epstein didn't," in their acceptance speech. "Oh, and
Nope.
Epstein didn't kill themselves."
He died in 2019, August 10th, 2019.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, time travel. It's fun.
Yes.
Anyway, but one of the rappers in Hilltop Hood said, "Oh, and Epstein didn't kill himself," which is like a joke meme, but it's based in truth. And they got lambasted the next day. Oh, it's a conspiracy theory. They're still pushing the conspiracy. They keep saying it's a conspiracy theory, and it's unless you actually look at what you look at the facts of what actually happened. He's supposed to be. Yeah, everyone knows basically. We know. I don't have to go through it. Where it just happened to be the cameras were off. Both guards were having a cigarette break. Blah blah blah. And it's like, right, this is a high security level thing, and all of this, the stars aligned, and then Epstein somehow found a rope and killed himself
In an anti-suicide chamber where everything's taken away so he can't kill himself.
Yeah, even Steven Crowder tried to attempt to do the same thing live on air. And I think also from what the report says, the wrong vertebrae broke or something. Yeah, there's there's a lot of hang on, what's going on here?
That MCC, that Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan, is also used for high-risk international prisoners. Juan Guzman, El Chapo, stayed there. I mean, and he's the master breakout artist. He broke out of every prison in Mexico. Nothing happened to him in there. I think they had Noriega there for a while as well when they extracted him from Panama.
Like Rikers Island.
So this is like the top tier jail in the United States that the FBI and foreign intelligence agencies who are doing international warrants and extractions. That's the jail they use. And Epstein died there. Like, it's like, the one thing that's happened since 2001, and I can't quite figure it out. Maybe you two gentlemen can help me. But there has just been so much shit that's happened that nobody can look at anything that happens now and fully believe it without questioning it. Like since 9/11 onwards, my thesis is it's so in our face. It's an indirect declaration that we're here, we're running things. This is how things are going to happen now. I mean, it's I don't even get upset about it anymore. Okay, I guess we're going to the shackles. Time to leave. But
this is what I think. I think they're going to do whatever they can do to hide it, but their arrogance has gotten so much that they ended up having to Epstein. Why wasn't he killed before he got brought in?
That's the second time he was brought in.
Right. Why wasn't he killed after 2007 when he got convicted? What the fuck?
Yeah. There's a lot of what really. I mean, and even Julian Assange, he should have been taken out multiple times beforehand. And that's like, I've had people on my roundtable saying, "Oh no, they control everything." And yet we're still on radio. If they controlled everything, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Exactly.
and it's the projection of we are your overlords, while we cling to any possible thing, because that's where I think the light, there's pushback from the light, as Bruce said, where you can see everything unfolding, where the spell's breaking and their hubris of like, well, we've got away with this for hundreds of years, we're just going to show everyone because all you people are idiots. Why isn't our plan working? Because
one of the things I've learned working with Andrew is the subtlety and multidimensionality of consent. And so really, on a certain level, some level of consent has always been amongst a human population through mind control to allow what's going on here. But it seems to be going from a kind of an etheric fantasy state to really coming down to like ink on paper now. It's really getting to the point where nobody can say, this isn't how things are run. I can't even believe there are still Karens and Kens around. Like they should have gone extinct by about 2016, but here they are stronger than ever. And you got to wonder, what reality matrix are they living in? I mean, don't they know? Has nobody whispered in their ear? Like it's almost like an extended infantilization. I try not to get frustrated with people like this, but some time ago, my energy stopped giving itself over to the other side and blaming them for everything, and I shifted a little bit to us. Like, on some level, we're allowing all of this, and nobody seems to want to acknowledge that. It's just, think of it like an ugly family truth that nobody wants to confront, like what Uncle Diddley's doing, and it's just like everybody knows it's going on. Suddenly the whole world is Shanghai. I mean, I really don't think we can say we're any less corrupt than anywhere else in the world now. The high ideals of American exceptionalism, they started a slow, protracted death for me, 2001. But until then, I bought in. I knew it wasn't perfect, but it was the best we could do on the planet right now, bringing all these people and languages together, creating a multicultural society under a common ambition, trying to create a new culture from many cultures. I think it was an ambitious social experiment. And it was worthy of the emotional and spiritual support people gave it, but not anymore. I mean, it's a bad note now. It's just completely counterfeit.
So the counterfeit nature of the system we have, but there's still people believing in it. And what I wanted to say is we are due another Epstein, but in that journey to the next Epstein is the story that leads into an Epstein moment. Now, we already have dozens of guys that should have been Epstein that are in public right now, dozens of stories. And I'll use Marjorie Taylor Greene right now, the Q senator that's talked about XX and X. Clearly, she's an agent. Clearly, she's an agent that's been exposed, and yet they haven't taken her off the playing field yet. Okay, and now they're trying to put her back on the playing field by saying, "I never really said all that stuff." Okay, it wasn't really me. It was somebody else putting up on my Twitter or putting up on my Facebook. So they're trying to rewrite the bullshit so that the agent can stay in position. Okay. And Epstein, as an agent, he was there to clearly collect blackmail. Okay. He was there to get the blackmail network going. Where is the blackmail network now?
Yeah, well, that's the part of the thing of like, there's this evil shadow entity in the background manipulating everything. It's like, well, why is it everyone's an operative? That security paranoia, not security, sorry, the conspiracy world paranoia. Well, I mean, people said, Trump was put in to destabilize, and Trump's working with the cabal, and he's probably a different faction in the cabal, but unless he was. He knew he would be the villain of the piece for 4 years, and they're still trying to drag him back now. Where problems now? Oh, that's Trump's fault. Like it's that whole thing of like, well, if they like Alex Jones, well, I suppose if you get to a point where if they get taken out, it just proves what they're saying, type thing. So it is fascinating to watch. Well, the world is a stage, and we all have our part to play. But whoever wrote the script sucks, especially now in season 4.
So who all here knows what the Panama Papers and the Paradise Papers are?
I'm familiar with them.
I do.
Okay. Right there is follow the money.
Mm.
That proves all the shell companies, all the laundered money, it's all there, and it's directly network property mapped. So, Bruce, you're a computer person. When you network map something, what does that mean?
It means you get all the endpoints. You see the starting and the endpoints of all transactions. I mean, they've got everything digitally now. They've had it since, the Panama Papers, which I think was about 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
It's all fully digitally mapped. And since then, there has been a rapid reshuffling of shell companies and a remaking of shell companies. But the thing is, that system still has to use some of the old shell companies because to get the government payout to another company is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Well, didn't 2 German guys actually map all the? I think the Panama Papers helped it out. But is it? 700 corporations basically control all of business. Or it's when people say, "Oh, there isn't a small group of people controlling the world." Well, if you look at this map, it shows that there's a small group of people controlling the world. Like mainstream media in the United States, it's 5 corporations that owns everything, not the alternative side, but it's just really, it's that cognitive dissonance where it's like, no, there isn't a conspiracy. You're insane, and then you show them basic logic of like, well, these 5 companies own everything. Oh, you're insane.
Mm-hmm. So as I've been leading up with this conversation, I believe in the next three years or less, and this is not prediction. You don't need to be a psychic to predict this shit. This is just me looking at reality and seeing the patterns. We're going to see a unfortunate series of Epsteinian events.
I don't want this to happen, but I'm going to put Ted Cruz up I'm going to nominate Ted Cruz.
I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine.
Ted knows the game real well. He knows all the breaks and on the fairway. He knows everything. They're not going to. He can play for any team. He's an asset, right? He just kind of fooled us all.
What about Rand Paul?
He's too big.
No, and he's not really. He's just a muckraker.
Yeah. And they've got enough dirt on him to make him say whatever they want him to say.
Mm-hmm.
So what? I guess what we're looking for here is the line, and right, I think the line is when you have something actionable in court, then you have to go, right? Or you're going to say something publicly that really will have that momentary effect on people that changes mass consciousness. Then you got to go.
Okay, what about Elon Musk? Is he allowed to do these things because he's following a certain agenda? With him out knowing, well, he's a mover and shaker in the culture, and he's creating AI, Neuralink, wants to go to Mars, and all this type of stuff. And it's interesting, like how Bill Gates is evil, but Elon seems to, he wants to help humanity, but it's still in that small window where the powers that be allow it to happen, type thing.
Yeah,
he's not a Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, I think he was anointed to be that person as the potential way out, knowing they've lost the game and they really can't get it back in control. And if they're going to do anything, they want power on the other side if they can negotiate some kind of release. But the thing is, the destructions that they've created so far doesn't allow any of them to ever be in control again.
Okay, is that the fight that the Cabal's doing? Because they realize that there is massive change, and they still want to be in control on the other side. But there's no chance.
The middle managers want control. The upper managers don't want to let go of control. But it's the middle manager going, I can give up a lot, but I want power on the other side. But not even the middle managers are going to survive because of the damage that they've already done.
Yeah. Is that like going to the inner Earth where they sort of control everything? So it's like, well, no.
Right. We're never going to put you lizards back in power again.
Yeah.
You're
I do
done.
like. I mean, one of your reports about the inner Earth was that the idea is maybe we allow it's that Monsters Inc. theory that I came up with. They're going to allow people to live life and produce laughter instead of screams, and so they may try and shift from loosh to a positive loosh. I think I'm saying it right.
Poosh.
Poosh. Yeah. Have you tried? Yeah, you've tried loosh, but if you try this poosh, it's 10 times as powerful and addictive.
And it's got free will behind it.
Yeah, now with free will. That's the marketing.
Yes. Now new and approved. Poosh.
Now with free will. Try it. You'll be gone for months. Yeah, I like that. Someone said that we could end poverty on the planet with $30 billion. And none of these people are doing anything.
180 billion. And that's for 10 years, including transportation cost.
But can you imagine the Earth after 10 years where I don't see at the end of 10 years, everyone goes back into poverty?
Well, no, you can feed every man, woman, and child 3 meals a day for 10 years, and every living person on the planet for 10 years for $180 billion, including the transport of the food.
Can you imagine Africa if it was like Europe? How big
again,
of
that includes water also. That doesn't just include food. That's water too.
180 billion a year?
Yep. No, for 10 years.
So 18 billion a year could feed the world.
Yep.
And that's not very much money at all.
Nope. It's 2 stealth airplanes.
Yeah. So yeah, profit versus humanity. Can you imagine Africa if it hadn't had the shit kicked out of it for 400 years? How much of a health, the continent could be the same as North America and Europe with intelligence and technology and advancements. It boggles the mind because of technically there aren't any poor African countries. There's just poor African people because the countries are extremely rich. They're just been taken over, and this is where the anti-racists kick in. Oh, colonizers and blah blah blah. But it's not every white person. There's a small group of people who are inbred fucks that control everything. It's like saying, "Oh, the British are terrible." Well, no, 95% of the British are treated like shit as well from the elites.
Actually, Monty, I'd say historically the Africans have been more fucked over by their own people than outsiders coming in. Same thing with China. The thing about China, you can't do anything to China China hasn't already done to itself. They've seen it all. They're an 8,000-year-old society. Imagine how many transformations they've gone through. Everybody should take the time, if you want to read probably the greatest Chinese classic of all time. I forget when it was written, several centuries ago, but it's called The Three Kingdoms. And it was the war for a unified China. And a time of, power struggle, warlords. It's just an incredible society. And I think it's the same thing with Africa as well, right? And this race is something that has become particular in the new multicultural societies. It's something that they can do. It's a leverage that they create agitation to self-protection. Protection and prostitution, the 2 P's, are probably the 2 oldest economies in the human sphere, right? There's the other stuff, the loosh and the genetics and all of that stuff, but protection and prostitution. So you rile people up and then what do they need? They need protection, right? So that's all there is to it.
Yeah, I think even in Rome, their fire brigade was a protection racket. Look, you give us a couple of shekels, or your house will burn down. All right.
Yeah. There's a lot of cultures that view insurance as interim financing.
Exactly, interim financing.
Yeah. We need some money. We'll buy something, put 10% down, insure it, and burn it.
Yeah.
And then default on the loan, and then we'll go and do this business we wanted to do in the first place. So it's like a motif that's really should be becoming apparent to everybody now, is that Systems-based theory is never going to work as well as direct human interaction. You know, Ministry of Child Welfare will fuck up more children than 2 or 3 loving families who take in castaways in a community, right? So something about institutionalizing something, because everybody involved in it is, you know, by biblical definition, is a kind of prostitute. They're doing it for money, which is the wrong reason to do. Society can't, fundamentally, an institution cannot be compassionate. It doesn't have the infrastructure of a human being. It doesn't have the energy centers and the multidimensional bodies to generate that moment of insight to create compassion. Compassion's always spontaneous. You can't manufacture compassion. HBO tries its best. I mean, all the TV stuff and everything, they try their best. Spontaneous. And why am I so articulate about this? Well, I've given it a good think, because one of the founding doctrines of the Canada of the last generation and a half, which I grew up in under Pierre Elliott Trudeau, the father of our present prime minister, he created the phrase compassionate society. Pierre Trudeau contributed a lot. He moved the ball as far down the field as anybody in this globalization game. And nobody really pays a lot of attention to him because he was Canadian, and the spotlight's been on, you know, Washington since World War II. But compassionate society, and I got to thinking about that. I said, and I was watching the results of all these institutions, you know, child welfare, the allopathic socialized medicine system in Canada. And, you know, they end up hurting and killing as many people as they help. That might be a little bit imbalanced. I'm not speaking statistically, but it's the same thing with spirituality. The moment you institutionalize it, even if it's a 503(c) or whatever they call it in the US, it loses something. It's like part of the power of the experience is being given away to the institution. The question then becomes, and I realize this is pretty fucking far away from comedic. The question then becomes, how do you create economies of scale where people work together without institutions? There's a real question. You're never going to hear a Democrat say that at a podium, a Republican, or a liberal or a conservative in Canada or Australia. How do you do it? How do you teach people who've been institutionalized since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, when they illuminated cities, the real hard screws of what we'll call the global narrative by Andrew's timeline? Okay, how do you take people who this now, if you go 40 years a generation, it's 3 generations. How do you free them from that? How do you free them from that mindset? If all the institutions crumble tomorrow, most people's first thought would be, hey, we got to rebuild these institutions. Never for a moment thinking they fucked everything up.
Well, it's the same thing with the fake reset, where it's the people that created the problem going, oh, we've got a solution. It's like, why the fuck do we care what you think? Where, like, you caused this in the first place. Like, there's a theory of the US Treasury could make, if the debt to the Federal Reserve is $21 trillion, you could make 21 platinum coins and call them $1 trillion and walk from the Treasury building to the Fed and pay off the debt. And I'm like, that's a good idea, but I'm at the point of, why do we have to pay the debt off when it's completely a criminal organization? Where it's like, I mean, if you pay the principal off, why do you need to pay all the interest off? And that's without inflation as well. Because
you signed the contract when you took the loan.
Oh yeah, the consent. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right. And I'm not trying to be, sly. Literally the conclusion I came to is the only way to get out of it is to physically get out of it, and create a circumstance in your life where you only use money to buy things that you don't necessarily need, but all the stuff, the basic stuff you need, shelter, food, and water, you're somewhere around 60% or more responsible for yourself, meaning you grow it, including your animal stocks and stuff like that. And whatever's coming, I don't see it as an arc situation. I don't see it as one man and 2 of everything. I see it as millions and millions of individual rafts are going to form the population that survives this. It's not going to be an arc.
Well, first thing first, the 2 of everything is not genetically viable. So the whole arc story was bullshit from the beginning. You just have a bunch of inbred animals.
I was speaking metaphorically.
Yeah, well, that explains Adam and Eve, and then they had sons. It was like, oh, that's all right. And then they found 2 wives. I'm sorry, what? Go back. What?
What?
Like,
Is that now?
are you saying that humanity is just inbred from the start? And no, I think it's in Doctor Strangelove. We need 17 women and 32 men, or you need a broad spectrum of a genetic gene pool so you can have variety, unlike, say, the royal families of Europe.
You need at least a population of 1,600 men and women of varying nationalities and race backgrounds to have a viable genetic population.
Which, strangely
How
enough,
many?
sounds like that when apparently the Krakatoa went off, a volcano went off, and the human population only got down to 1,600 in Africa. And I find that, that sounds about right.
Yes, the sex arc.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you, Sean.
So that just goes to show you that the Bible's got its major issues that it's got to resolve. Now, back to what Bruce was saying. How do you get people off the nipple of an institution without creating new institutions or recreating the old institutions? Good long-term question that every people have to ask. There is an answer to it, though. Okay, the institutions aren't going to be run by humans anymore. They're going to be run by compassionate AIs who will do the right thing and not cost cut. Take the human out of that process.
Now, I've watched too many sci-fi movies to not really trust that idea.
Yes, but that's why they've put that into the sci-fi. That's why so much dystopian movies are out there, so you'd never trust that shit.
Yeah, I do find it fascinating when they there's a new world order, and it's like, then why do they keep releasing movies of, say, like Star Wars, where rebellions take down the Empire? Like, they keep putting that idea of, the underdog and everything else like that.
It's a catharsis, Monty. It takes the energy of rebellion out of the human psyche. It's a false catharsis, right?
Okay,
rather than that's what art's become. Or that's what the propaganda of Hollywood's become. It's a catharsis. Now, there's still really good art. I mean, I thought The Sopranos was 21st century Shakespeare.
Me too.
I really
Loved
did.
it.
I mean, that was brilliantly written series and showed you the true consequence of the criminal life.
That's right.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to drive around in an Escalade and get blown by strippers, but this is what you risk. You put everything you love on the line
all the time.
Right? Yeah. And there were a number of series that hit that really well. Sons of Anarchy was another one. And it was this same theme in criminal stuff. Very different than Mario Puzo's Godfather. At the end of the Godfather movie, he finally got it right in the third one, where Michael loses his daughter. There's the karmic equity of the power-based life. Power and love can't coexist. Well, they actually... Yeah, maybe they can get under a duvet together, but they're going to be wrestling through the duvet and most of the mattress all night.
Yeah, it reminds me of the movie Enemies at the Gates, where one of the characters basically points out why communism won't work, because you have love. And then he steps out and gets, because it's 2 snipers, and the guy sacrifices himself to be killed so his friend can see where the other sniper is. Because there's a love triangle. The sniper and the guy who sacrificed love the same woman, but the woman likes the sniper. And so he says the problem with communism, it works on paper, but unfortunately it doesn't equate for love. And then he steps out, gets shot, and allows his friend to take out the other sniper, which what's his name? Anyway, it's a good movie, but
Jude Law was the main.
Jude Law. Yep.
Jude Law.
Yeah. But who was the other sniper? He's the evil guy in The Rock. Ed Harris.
Oh, Ed Harris. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And actually, I was speaking to a friend on Wednesday, and she's studying philosophy at university, and it's like, have you watched Westworld? No, what's that? I recommend you watch Westworld, where androids start having becoming sentient, and they're worrying about what is their reality and all their loops, and it's kind of parallel of humanity going, wait a minute, this shit doesn't work. Yeah, yeah. You don't have to watch
know why
3
I
seasons of
find that so
Westworld. There you go.
I can't get into that, Monty. I don't know. There's something really cold about it. I can't get into
Same
it.
with me. I just couldn't get into Westworld. It didn't turn my watch the coals over.
It's
Yeah, fair enough.
I have to follow what I call an artistic integrity. There's no significant advances on what Philip K. Dick asked about artificial consciousness. And so that it's basically just a redo, right? It's like a Chinese soap opera, a Taiwanese soap opera. They're all the same. They all take place in some famous dynasty. And the funny, when I lived in Taiwan, one of the first things I noticed was how connected to the past the Chinese are. And then when I came back home, it occurred to me, oh my God, I think North America is the first society in human history, recorded human history, to create a mythology that looks into the future rather than the past, because that's what science fiction was, right? But when you're over in China, man, like all of their soap operas and everything, I mean, you know, the people who do costumes in Hollywood, they're like really important in Chinese television and movie production, because you got to be able to replicate all the authentic clothing of the various dynasties. And it's just, people love to look at it, the grand days of China, right? I don't know how the hell I got onto that while I'm trying to get this.
I remember one in the comedy show, like, what movie should we watch? And I meant comedies, but Andrew said Ip Man or IP Man. I think it's Ip Man. Those 4. It's still looking backwards, but it's fascinating. The martial arts teacher of Bruce Lee, and it's fascinating to see his story. And that's, you know, that starts in the 30s and ends up in the 60s when he passes away, as well as Detective D. Those 3 or 4 films as well. And yeah, the Chinese just love those period pieces. Like, it's like the BBC and all their period pieces where they you know, it's very hard for Doctor Who to try and make an episode because everything has to be built. But you know, unless they go back to 1856, we've got decades worth of sets and costumes and everything else like that, because they've just been doing the period piece of, you know, even Shakespeare. Like that, I'm sure tonight there is going to be a version of Hamlet being shown or being performed somewhere.
I'm gonna try and help you save a little face, Monty, for your shameless support of Donald Trump and the Q movement.
Yeah, okay. What timeline are you from?
No.
I don't love Donald Trump. I don't love Trump.
No, I did
just
as well.
dislike. No, you were more. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah. Well, what he represented to me was continuing the American dream, which is people from all over the world coming together for prosperity, and in the act of that pursuit, creating an entirely new culture and a new way of doing things. For the most part, a lot of the old secret societies crept in and everything, but it really was something new. And I really believe in it, and which is odd because I was raised Canadian, and I think Canada has just got to be the most pathetic country in the world. Australia might be a close second, Monty, but I think we have you beat. And and there was America, man, with all of this invention and prosperity, and look, people have to bang it out when they're getting to know each other. It's just the way things are, right? We had to go through all that stuff. We had to go through the Knights of Columbus and the Italian Mafia in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. We had to go through the Chinese Tongs, which Warrior is a brilliant series Andrew recommended. The only thing I'm watching as I work through this rewrite. And
how far into it are you?
Season 2, episode 4.
Oh, you binged the shit out of it. I knew you would. I knew you would.
Unfortunately,
when I first ran it.
I was just going to say very quickly. Unfortunately, they're not going to make a season 3, and I'm like, bastards. It got cancelled. I believe. I could be wrong, but it should keep going because it's made so well. Go ahead, Andrew. Sorry.
I knew, like, when I first found it, I had no idea the show was even produced. It ran across in my recommended file from Amazon, and I'm like, oh, let me see what this is. I put one episode, I'm like, oh. And the next thing I binged the first season in like a night and a half.
Yeah, I mean, and that was Bruce Lee's original idea. He wanted to do. He created kung fu. It was his idea, but he had more ideas, and this was what he was trying to get across was, the Chinese Tongs and the Dragon societies coming over to America and San Francisco and everything. which is
Right.
where he lived in the 60s, right? Like
Right.
two generations
And his
later.
daughter is an executive producer. So it's even in the credits from the writings of Bruce Lee. So it is the purest form of kung fu.
So anyways, I brought that up because, this is what America did, and everybody goes through it. Like no matter. So Canada went through the French-English thing for the most part. That was our foundational dichotomy. And then after we got over that, we kind of stewed about Catholicism and Protestantism for quite a while because there were quite a few Celts, a lot of Irish. When my mom grew up, she grew up in a farming community. You did all your grocery shopping and you did all your chores in the Catholic town. You didn't go to the Protestant town. You could get beat up. This is like the 1950s, right? This is like 2 generations ago. And this is why I just want to vomit every time I see these Democrats on air doing this race bullshit, right? No, we're through that. Don't pretend we're not. And just the level of duplicity that would seek power by creating acrimony between people at that level is just, it's so disgusting. Yes. Absolutely disgusting.
It just reminds me of Northern Ireland, where it's Protestant versus Catholic, and I'm sure Jesus is sitting next to Dad, going, "I'm not going back to those idiots." Like, I'm sure I had this thing about loving each other. It was like, "Oh, but you wear orange, so I'm going to stab you in the neck, you little bastard." Now, also for the Irish watching, I have no idea. I've never been there, but the idea of 2 Christians, sects, are fighting each other because. Well, I don't even know why they're fighting. It's like when the French and the English, we've got God on our side, and God's probably in China going, "Do you hear something?" It's that ridiculous how they use religion, like the idea of the Queen can rule because it's divine right. But if you look in the history, it's like, no, a family member of hers 300 years ago killed all the other people. It's just a warlord that won.
That's right. Yeah. So here is the takedown on Warrior Season 3. Cinemax announced in 2020 that it would end all of its scripted programming as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, meaning that ended Warrior Season 3. But recently, HBO Max picked it up in January, and the first 2 seasons will be streamed. So we will see it in Season 3 in 2022, sometime in 2022.
Awesome. All right, then. So that just knowing that is why you should watch this show. That there will be a Season 3.
If none of you have ever seen Warrior, not with an S, I highly recommend you spend the money, or I believe it's only on HBO Max now, so you probably have to get an HBO Max subscription.
You can buy it on Blu-ray or DVD.
You can buy it on Blu-ray, and sometimes Amazon still has episodes available. It is beyond good. In the storytelling, the fight scenes, everything is impeccable writing, high quality, everything.
Yeah, I'm speaking of Irish from Warrior. In that, I don't like the Irish in Warrior.
Right,
it's like, wow. But
that's the grandfather of Timothy Leary, who invented LSD. That's what they're alluding to there.
All right, but it is the storytelling.
You gullible American. Oh, wait a minute, you're Australian.
Well, Andrew keeps saying I'm turning American, so like, hey, whatever, I can do what I like. So it's just. Yeah, it's beautiful writing, and prepare yourself. Like, watch 1 episode, but allow 8 episodes, because once you watch 1, it's like, I want to know where this is going, because the production values are extremely high. And because what's Bruce Lee's daughter's, Shannon Lee is the executive producer, and so her company's part of it, and so she's half American, half Chinese, or whatever the mix is. Because she's both cultures, it's respectfully done across the board, where there's evil white people, but there's also awesome white people, and there's evil blah blah blah. And they're talking about race because it's 1880 or 89. It's near the end of the 19th century.
And so 1878.
Yeah, exactly. And so there is racial division there. It's not a mirror of society now. It's a period piece, but it's made by non-racists now, if that's the way of saying it. It's like watching Gone with the Wind, where they could have made it extremely racist, but they didn't. They pulled back, but they show what actually happened.
Yeah. And let me just say, for all you Five Eyes, first world guilty white people, Everybody's racist. I put up with it on a daily basis in Costa Rica. My wife, everybody is racist. Everybody exists around this cultural centrism. You should see it in China. I mean,
I was going to
you're
say Asia.
yeah, you're standing on a street corner at 7 o'clock in the morning, right? Sipping a coffee, and a pint-sized school bus goes by, and all the windows come down on one side, and it's the kindergartens, and they're all pointing at you going, why gua ren, foreigner, which is innocent enough. It just gets a bit weird when the adults on the sidewalk stop and join in and start pointing at you and going, why gua ren, why gua ren.
Well, it's slightly worse than that. It's the Asians hate the Asians.
Yeah.
Where
well, there's many Chinas. There's many Chinas, right? There's so many.
Yeah.
A dialect is not immediately apprehendable if you're not raised in it, right? That's why the first thing Mao did was create the common four-tone Mandarin, because they had splintered into so many idioms, and they're very different. I mean, just because you speak Portuguese doesn't mean you understand Italian, right? So and that's what it got like. So there's all kinds of people there. It's a rich and fascinating place, and the people are absolutely beautiful and fascinating. CCP is a monstrosity. It's got to go.
Yeah.
The people are incredible.
Yeah, my official stance on the Chinese government, they suck. But I mean, I would love to. That's my my hat is in the political ring. They suck. I would love to go to China. Not right now. Actually, I like to go a lot of places, but it's just most places are shitholes because of the leadership, and especially the CCP, where I remember Bruce shared a talk by, was it the top military advisor of the Chinese government in 2004, the war minister or whatever, and the arrogance coming go, oh, Chinese people are here first. Sorry about the accent. So therefore the world is ours. And it's like, really? This is their mentality.
This is what people don't understand. What we call white supremacy in America now is desperate and frightened people getting pushed out of the economy, fighting for survival. When you really can't understand true racial supremacy until you see it. And the Chinese, at their inner core, the elites, they have it in spades. You know, they call themselves the center of the earth people, right? There's, the reason they didn't go out before Europeans and colonize and set up trade routes, because they sent scout ships out way before the Europeans, but they didn't begin trading relationships because they considered the world too uncivilized.
Yeah, and also if you think about it logically, the Chinese could have easily got to South Africa. You just follow the coastline. Yeah. It'll take a long time, but you just follow the coastline and you can end up in Spain.
Oh, yeah. And the stories are coming out in Africa now, is that you can see YouTube videos now that like Nigerians and Ghanans take on their cell phones while they're dealing with their Chinese boss, and then they post them on YouTube. Unbelievable. Like it's like we were 3 generations ago, but it's 2021 or it's 2020.
Yeah, and
unbelievable.
Bruce,
when you've lived abroad as much as I have, I speak 4 languages now, and you really know what a culture is, and you really know what racism is. It just turns your stomach the way they've used and manipulated this in America, and how, again, but I can't blame them. It's the stupid people who believe it, who've given up their critical thinking, right?
Yeah.
It's just so. Yeah. What do you sell stupid people? Stupid stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Play stupid games, get stupid prizes. Like the 3 of us are all roughly the same age. And I'm guessing it's the same in Canada. Like, yes, there is racism in the background, but I'm going to give a timestamp. Before Barack Obama got in, most of those multicultural countries were humming along quite well, and there was a bit of unison. Like, I was thinking about it the other day. I just see Australians. I mean, they could come from Malaysia, China, Scotland, whatever. We're all Australians, and there's a bit of argy-bargy because we're Australians. But now, since like Obama got in and the race card was slapped down again, and race relations has just dramatically dropped, now everyone's separated again. And it's they say, oh, well, I'm a Black American, so you're American. No, I'm Black. It's like, yeah, I know, but you're American. And it's like the Biden said, "Oh, we want unity because we're all Americans." It was like, yeah, good, yeah. Hey, you're not the best person for it, are you, Grandpa? Because Australia is sort of known as multicultural. We've had Chinese people here for over 170 years. It's just in the last 2 decades, a certain group, maybe from Hong Kong or something, they've been isolationist and been pricks about it. But before then, the Chinese community were absorbed, and you bring your good side of things, and everyone gets along well. And you could have a Chinese friend and a Greek friend, an Italian friend. I mean, I remember for the 80s there was a bit of argy-bargy between the Greeks and Italians, but it was sort of it was humorous. It wasn't like death from above type thing. But now everything's been splintered, and it's, I mean, in a way that's been pushed. That's been a narrative now, is, oh, we have to separate everyone, divide and conquer.
Yeah, I have yet to encounter a culture I can't find something to respect and admire in, and that includes the Hells Angels. I mean any culture. And there's always something that they're doing right and something that they're doing wrong. And, picking at these threads is just ridiculous. I mean, nobody likes the guy who farts in a crowded elevator, but we have to get along, right? And this is what America represented to me. It was an attempt to bring people together, to create a metaculture, to create something new. And call me an optimist. I think in the end, America's going to do it. I think they're going to manifest it. I think it's still the greatest country in the world, and I think it's still, in many ways, if not economically anymore, I still think in many ways it's leading the world.
Yeah, that's probably why they're trying to it's been taken down, because it's a shining example of what's actually going on. The narrative is Donald Trump's against immigration. No, you missed a word: illegal immigration. Fill out the forms. If you fill out the forms and get your green card and you're allowed in, they love you. If you just walk across the border, which apparently a lot of people are doing now, and there's a massive crisis down there, and Biden's ignoring it, or he has no idea it's happening.
Monty, hold on a second here. This is where your Australian misses a lot of American history. The illegal immigrants under Bush was far worse than it is today. It was the Bush era that allowed all the illegal immigrants to cross the border. Period. Okay. That is truth in history. And we are now dealing with the Bush era's destruction of the immigration package, because they needed new people to come in and get new birth certificates and new Social Security cards to pay off the debt. Yeah,
but that's still, they're illegal immigration. And it's saying, we're against immigration.
But it was caused by the Republicans and Republican Senate. Period.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
Monty.
Okay.
So you're saying the corrupt system is corrupt? Please go on.
Absolutely. And they're dealing with the corruption 20 years later of what created the level of corruption, because the Border Patrol people were all bought out by who? Chapo Guzman.
Yeah.
Okay. Who captured Guzman?
CIA.
No, what president was he under?
I think that might have been Obama.
Yes. Why would Obama take down the first drug lord in his cabinet seat? Why would it show up for the feather in that political hat?
Well, I don't know. The story I got on Netflix is he was told not to build a methamphetamine lab in the Philippines, and he did it. He broke orders, right? So
broke the orders. Exactly. Yeah. But at the same time, there were other orders that he was breaking too, such as what's coming across the border when you're allowing terrorists across the border.
Yeah.
Okay. There was no management system to the coyotes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the good thing about Australia is we're an island, so the only way you can get here is either by boat, plane, or swim,
or birth.
Yeah. Well, hello, Galactic Historian with multidimensionality. Yeah. You could be born there. Fine. I wasn't. But they've turned that into a political thing of, well, we've got to stop the boats, and it's like queue jumpers. But the thing is, like, fill out the forms and enter the country so we know who you are. And the thing is, the government's gone, we'll stop the boats and then put them in other countries in concentration camps. And so it's like, oh, you're against humanity type thing. It's like, well, I'm against the camps, but Australia's big. Why can't we have a town in the middle of Australia where people can learn English and actually acclimatize to Australian society? You fill out the forms, and if you do have refugee status, you're allowed in. Whitlam in the 70s did that with Vietnam. After Vietnam war ended, they allowed all the Vietnamese in, and of course, all the white Australians freaked out because Australia's government's been racist for most of the 20th century because they had the white Australian policy that was actually on the books were allow Europeans in, but no one else. And in the 70s, Gough Whitlam's gone, yeah, we'll change that. And then he got fired because he was talking to China and wanted to break away from the Rothschild system. But,
Now, something else I want to touch on immigration. I want to touch on immigration real quick. As I said, all the blame goes on the Bush administration for creating the disaster that is in our immigration system. Mm-hmm. When Obama took over, what he did to immigration was just stop some of the stuff that Bush was doing, which created a budget issue. Now, the whole reason we are having kids in camps and all that stuff is because in the 2008 economic scandal, everything was, Homeland was reorganized, ICE was reorganized, and they got underfunded. Period.
Yeah.
Okay? Underfunded so much that they had virtually no border guards anywhere, like one border guard to every 200 miles of border.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Okay. And then in
Canada,
the end of 2014, they tried to do a big border guard rehire where they tried to hire 10,000 border guards in a year. Guess what? They barely could hire 1,000 people. Okay. Because the benefits of the job and what they were asking them was garbage. 22,000 a year. Okay.
Yeah.
And mediocre benefits with no room for advancement.
Yeah. And dry cleaning costs.
Right. And dry cleaning costs. Okay. And risk of being shot. Okay. Not to mention the Patriots who might shoot at you too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's where the wall's racist. No, it's like if you own a property and you have a fence, shut the fuck up.
Right. The senators and the governors and the congressmen, it falls blame on them for the budgeting issues there. Now, no matter what, when you have some mega institution trying to manage a border, it's going to fuck itself up over and over again because it's run by idiots, as we all have said this over and over again. The institutions have no oversight whatsoever. No oversight that means a damn to create any form of change. And when Trump came in, all he did was hit the talking points, Monty. He hit the things that made the steam blow off of this person's head or that person's head. Didn't matter what side you're on. He hit the talking points that blew up the steam and made that a big subject matter when it could have been taken care of with oversight and sending some of the political people that ran ICE and the Border Patrol to jail. But since they will not jail government employees, why? Because one government employee will rat out the next, which will rat out the next, which will rat out the next. Okay?
Cascade.
Right.
Yeah, but you've got like Biden stopped the wall and all this type of shit, and it's they've kicked the can down the road.
Right.
You may have heard of that term.
I may have heard of it. Yes.
And that's the thing with I saw Trump a bit of Trump's speech at CPAC, and I've gone, oh crap, we've gone back to 2016. Exactly. It's had the same energy of like, oh, we're doing that, and I'm like, oh crap. And of course, when you have someone different from the classic political class, and you could see where controversial, like here in Australia, we have Pauline Hanson. She didn't sound like one or the other, and so she got votes because she was something different. And Trump got that as well because he didn't sound like one or the other. And of course, basically Trump's role is a catalyst because once he won the election in 2016, a lot of people started learning about politics, and it's fascinating.
Well, absolutely. you have to give social media. You have to give social media and Trump the credit there. He used social media to his genius.
So, Alan popped in.
Oh, is he in the room?
Alan John, he's in the general gallery.
Robert, can you open Alan John's mic?
He's not very funny, but we'll give him a shot.
Alan, you got a signal to unmute.
Alan, are you there?
He was, and now he's gone. Let me get him back.
We have a treat.
You're right, Bruce. He's not very funny.
Hello.
Hello, Alan. How
Hey.
you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I didn't know you were talking to me.
Yes, we are directly talking to. No, wrong Alan.
Alan John. Alan
Alan
John.
John.
Yeah.
As I thought.
Hello. Yeah.
I'm on mute.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's John with a J.
Oh, as opposed
Oh,
to
and-
Jorge.
And thank you, Sean. I'm Alan John, and so is my wife. It's a classic name.
Hey.
How about any Alan?
There we go.
That is the right Alan John. How you doing, Alan?
Where?
Behind
That's the
you,
best
behind
joke
you.
of the show.
We have a special treat. We are joined by the comedian from Canada, Alan John Park. Welcome to the show, Alan.
I can't believe this is actually going on right now.
Yes, it's been going on for an hour, almost 2 hours already, and we just been blowing the shit out of everything from politics to baby raping lizard wizards.
Well, I don't have a picture and I can't see that I'm on the show.
Just turn on your
Well,
video if you
you're
want
here.
to turn on video. You don't have to turn on video if you don't want to.
Oh, it's not. I should though. It's wigging out this platform. Okay, now I see you,
Mm-hmm.
Andrew.
Yes.
Unable to start video. You can't start your video because the host stopped it.
Robert,
Uh-oh.
can you give him video permission?
Yes, you need permission. Fill out some forms.
Okay.
It'll pop up in a second. Hold on.
Or as
So,
Bashar says,
Al-
not the
Al-
leader of Syria. You
Alan,
have a
just let-
permission
let-
slip.
You
Alan,
can
why
still
don't you
hear
just
me
let-
on audio, right? That's okay.
Yeah. Why don't
Yeah.
you just let people know who you are for a second so they know what
Okay.
kind of treat we got?
Okay, while we're fumbling around with technical prowess, whatever's going on there. So I know Bruce. I've known Bruce for a long time. Bruce and I are friends, and I'm a comedian. I was a comedian. I'm not a comedian anymore because they don't have that legislated out of existence as a career up here in Canada. They're not allowed to do that. And something about needing opinions to go along with it, and this was somehow hate-filled. You know, the facts game. Anyway, so if you said something, so I was developing this program where all I needed to do to tell a successful joke was, first think it up and then just run it by everyone on the planet to make sure no one's offended. And then once they all get back to me, I know it's good material. And so I decided to quit submitting to that kind of bullshit, these little gadflies of stupidity. And I was taken out of the comedy game anyway by our friend Cancer, and that was what really slammed me in the head back in 2013. And then they gave me a year at the end of 2013, or predicted that I would have 10 or 12 months left to live, and I wasn't interested in that diagnosis, and I didn't believe it, I didn't trust it, didn't feel right, didn't sound right, and anybody who is quote unquote normal would say, well, that's just denial. You were just in denial. That's all it is. And you know what? Maybe I was in denial, and maybe you're complicit by agreeing with the doctor giving you the 10 or 12 month countdown. It's like setting a timer off in your head. So I'm not that kind of person. And I started to understand there must be a way out of this problem. And I started looking for it and came across a powerful ally in the plant form of cannabis. And,
You took the Rick Simpson method to heart, and you went full
that's
bore
it.
into it. That's it.
Exactly.
Is there a punchline coming here?
He's still alive. That's the
I'm still
punchline.
here. Yeah, that's the
You're
punchline.
still here. Okay.
Oh, okay.
The punchline is I don't have all the degrees on my wall or the numbers in my bank account that everybody that said I wasn't going to be able to do this do have. That's the problem I have right now. So, I remember sitting in my prostate surgeon's office at one point, while he's droning on about how, the end of the world is upon me, etc. And I was just looking around at all of his degrees on the wall, knowing that he was incorrect. And it sticks with me. Mediocrity is well honored and well paid.
Exactly. Mediocrity is well honored and well paid. Well, the purpose of this comedy show is we take the piss out of everything, and anybody that's got a serious stick so far up their ass it comes out their mouth, they're not allowed to watch the show. So
Well, I think they choose not to.
We could take the piss out of any subject, any place, and here, Alan, is a platform in which you can blow off some steam.
I'll give you an example.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, our friend from Australia. I just want to get your name again because I don't know. It's not showing up here.
Monty, like Monty Python.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, an example of everything can be taken from cancer. I'm a Pisces. So
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Monty's a comedian too, Alan.
In Australia?
Yeah, but I don't think the word carries the same over there.
No.
Well, yeah, I live in Wokistan, and I haven't been on stage for a while. Andrew keeps pushing me out there. It's like, I don't want to go. They're all regressive leftards, but we'll see what happens.
I noticed that decline through the Obama years. It was like a magical spell. It was a magical spell going on from, I'm going to say, as soon as we were quote unquote out of trouble from the TARP, from the financial crash of 2007-8, Bush was in charge, and people didn't even really understand. Is this Bush's problem? Is this Obama's problem? Nobody. But as soon as it was resolved, everybody breathed this sigh. It wasn't really resolved, but it seemed like it was resolved. So everybody breathes a sigh of relief. And then there was like a magical spell of 10 years that unfolded that included things like, all those entertainment things that don't really work out, like the stars doing their performances at the Super Bowl, and Obama. I like the way Obama has lit up the White House like the gay color rainbow. And do I not have video here? Oh, start my video. Okay, maybe that's what it says. Okay. So remember how? So it's a bit light. I got to do some lighting changes. Hang on, I'm in the Green Crush here. So let me finish my point. So just like Obama has the White House, he's a Democratic. For folks that don't know, so Obama was a Democratic president. Okay, and at one point he was so happy about what he was able to light the White House up in all of the rainbow colors of the flag, and it was so great. And everybody on Facebook put a gay flag on their avatar, and what a time it was. And those same people that love that, none of them are asking questions about how come the White House is always dark now all the time.
That was the 8 years everybody smoked a hopium pipe like a crack pipe.
Yeah, and the comedians in the United States couldn't find anything funny in Obama, which is kind of funny, really, because like he's easily to be. Because if you notice, he can never actually, like, Trump could talk without a teleprompter for an hour and a half in front of an audience like Led Zeppelin, but then Obama looks like he's playing tennis because he's just looking from one teleprompter to the other.
Exactly.
Back and back.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got my trusty stick here. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And with this stick, I got to change the lights because you can't see me at all, can you?
There we go. Let there be light.
There it is. All right. So that's it for now, I guess. That'll do.
And he said,
anyway, so
let there be light and let there be light.
Sticky. Okay, so we'll put that there.
Biblical?
So I guess the biggest thing I'd love to talk to you guys about now, I posted about it. It's so funny to me, and it's so indicative of the diminished mindset across the board, not present company excluded. Here it is. I'll bet every single one of you guys, and I know Bruce has, but I'll bet you other two fellas at one point have made some kind of legitimate criticism of what calls itself the Israeli government, because they did something wrong or did something you had a bone to pick with or something. And then when you posted that, you were pounced on by so many people as being an anti-Semite. Even though when you criticized Bush, you weren't being called anti-American. Even though when you criticized Trudeau or Stephen Harper, you weren't being called anti-Canadian. And so right there's your logic problem right away. But they would just get mad at you. And they would say, oh, what are you talking? Oh, so you're an anti-Semite. So I haven't posted it. And, you're posting stuff that's critical of a government. It's fair enough. And so there was a mindset at that time, and this is through that Obama purple colors time and everything else, where people would just pounce on you for that. They would just jump on you and just immediately jump on the anti-Semitic bone accusation type of thing. And I've noticed that now they don't go anywhere near that, because I have posted on my page the fact that Israel, we've been listening to them for like 80 years telling us, never again, always remember, no second-class citizens. And now they are at the apex of the world in creating second-class citizens of their own. Never mind the Palestinian thing. That's a whole other issue. We can talk about that another time, open air prison, etc. That just opens up a can of worms. I'm talking about their own Israeli Jewish citizens. If they can't get the vax, they don't want the vax, they're second class. Put a sticker on them. And I mean, I can't believe that you could do that, as the country, ironically, who's been telling the rest of the world for 80 years, oh, careful, never do that again, always remember. And now they are fucking doing it more than anybody else on the planet. And they are doing it in their own backyard. You get their own citizens complaining about it. Those facts are being repressed. Those reports are being sublimated, just like the guy at Twitter suppressing Hunter Biden's laptop. And no one is saying anything. And no one is on my page going, fuck you, you're this and that. Because as soon as you go in to defend what I've criticized about Israel from the point of view of, oh, you're an anti-Semite, you immediately have to defend Nazi tactics.
Right. Yeah. And I want to add something. President Modi of India is now doing the exact same thing to hide the farmers' rebellion. If you say anything about like the entire north part of India has no internet for almost 2 months now. Wow. They shut the internet down in the north to hide it. Modi's doing the exact same thing. If you say anything negative towards India, you're anti-Indian.
Yeah.
Is that where they're having the skirmish with China?
No. They passed a law that basically decentralized all the local farmers who would set the price. And now the big agriculture companies can set the price, and all the farmers are pissed off because they can make no more money anymore.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Modi's India's hatchet, man. That's my favorite province too, Punjab. I love the Sikhs. Yeah.
Even Greta Thunberg has been embroiled in that because I think she stood up for them, and she's been slammed real hard.
Yep, she got the Indian cancel culture hitting her.
Yeah.
We're going to get you. You come here, Greta Thunberg. I'm going to get you. We're going to put a Slurpee down your throat.
What are you doing, you stupid little white girl?
When does
that's pretty good, Monty.
When does what's left of Playboy Incorporated ask Greta for a spread?
Within 2 years.
You think so?
2 years, absolutely. Okay. Within 2 years.
Yeah, because climate change.
To put a little bit of weight on, have a boob job, and within 2 years.
Yeah, and how old she's 17 now. Like
there's all for the environment.
There's I think a lot of people are waiting till when she becomes an adult and then start criticizing them again because they can't use. Oh, she's just a child. What are you doing? It's like, yeah, she's an adult now. Shut up.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I say within 2 years. 2 years she'll be spreading it all from the environment.
Behind the fig leaf with Greta Thunberg, a Playboy exclusive.
You're gonna see her jungle.
Well, it's strange because I find myself, generally speaking, I don't believe in, for scientific reasons, I don't believe in wearing the mask all the time on my face, so I don't. But I found myself lately thinking, I think some people should wear the mask, and Greta would be on that list.
I agree.
What I find funny is, like, from the conspiracy world, they're going to track you and there'll be CCTV cameras everywhere, and we're all wearing masks, so fuck that.
That is a bit of a thing that I don't understand a little bit. That is cross purposes.
Well, remember, our world is owned by psychopaths and run by idiots. Therefore, they forgot the whole thing. You've got a mask on. How are you going to track everyone?
But isn't that partly what's to do with the 6 feet social distancing? Because it was really only 3 feet. About a year ago this time, you had Anthony Fauci saying 3 feet was good enough.
Right.
I've got a video of that still. I mean, I know he's changed his position on everything, but last year, 3 feet was good enough. But
he's back to 3 feet now.
But now like since then, they changed it to 6 feet. So,
In the last week, he's come out and said, "Oh no, 3 feet's good." I'm like, oh, for fuck. He changes. So it's like someone with multi personality disorder. He keeps changing all the time. Masks are bad. Masks are good. 2 masks are good. 6 feet. 3 feet. Blah, blah.
I'm waiting for Fauci to go hunting birds and accidentally shoot somebody in the face with a shotgun shell and make that person apologize on live TV like fucking
so he's Darth Cheney. He's Darth Cheney's apprentice.
Yes,
I've seen this in Star
Fauci.
Wars. Yeah, Darth Fauci. Another Muppet fluffer.
Elmo like that.
Yeah. So we have America, Canada, Costa Rica, and Australia. Are you in Australia, Monty?
Yeah, I'm in Melbourne or Melbourne.
Okay.
And we were in lockdown for 5 months last year. Someone in Pyongyang was more free than Melburnians for a while there. So that gives you a hint of what we're like.
Yeah.
And everybody that's in the Zoom chat room, write in what country you are from. And if you are listening to us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or anywhere else and want to be a part of the chat room conversation, you must come and enter the Zoom room. Robert has all the information here up on the screen for you to come and enter the Zoom room. We are going overtime today.
I like Casey. I love you. What country are you from? Texas. And
Greece.
Rightly so.
Greece, Tennessee, New Hampshire, New York City. Greece is still in lockdown. There we go. Spain. We've got a worldwide. Antarctica. Lithuania.
Well, it's actually under Antarctica, but anyway, we've got the ghost of Admiral Byrd coming back in. He'd like to reiterate what the fuck it was he saw in the way of warm weather creatures as he was flying over the pole. Admiral? And there's another bullet with a name on it. Wouldn't that be something else? Just to go back in time and have a talk show with people. That was a show called History Bites in Canada where they did that. It was a great idea for a show. But I was never impressed with the final output. But it was a good idea where you could just talk to anybody in time, like on a chat show. And,
That's brilliant.
I think the Monty Python guys.
Time travel talk show. Howard Cosell interviewing Genghis Khan. Now, Genghis, did you know the horses would come in handy when you were flanking the Ming Dynasty?
Do you remember that?
I just did everything I could, Howard. I mean, I put my whole heart into it, and we went for it.
Do you remember that segment,
my
Bruce?
Trainer, my mother.
You remember that segment, Bruce, from the Woody Allen movie where he's in the future and he transports to the future, and so all the guys with the lab coats in the future have him in a room, and they show him a videotape of ABC Monday Night Football with Howard Cosell talking. You know, and he's describing the football game, and then they turn to Woody Allen and they say, now, can you please tell us exactly what's going on here? We've developed a theory where this man is put there in front of you to bore you to death or something like this. And Woody Allen just goes, yeah, that's exactly what that is. Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah, the Monty Python guys did something like history, and they did one episode, but it didn't work that well. And it was in '68 they did it where they were interviewing Caesar in the locker rooms after a big battle. And so, Terry Jones is Caesar's in the bath while Michael Palin's interviewing, but it didn't really work back then. So if you get the right the right way of writing it, it would work really well. Because, David Frost talks to King Alfred. So, do you think this family business is going to go well?
We've got a few inside tracks here.
Yeah. So people in the chat room is calling it Sleeper.
Sleeper, that's right.
That's it. That's the name of it. We got a very intelligent chat room here today.
Sleeper was fun. I enjoyed all those movies at the time, although I can't really get worked up about them now. But they made me laugh when they made me laugh back then. So how many people are on the chat here listening to this? Crazy.
There's 50 in the Zoom room. Robert, how many are on YouTube and Facebook? We got about 190, I think, listening now. We've already been going for 2 hours, so people are running out of steam. But we're going to get our next group of audience people that are jumping in because of the time zone change.
Oh yeah, the time zone change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I start at 8 a.m. in the morning, so it'd be funny. I've just woken up.
Right now we got 141 on the other side.
All right. For all you other people, send out the messages to your messengers. Come and join our comedy show.
Andrew, being connected to the rest of the galaxy, what are our numbers off planet?
22 billion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Send money.
They're all unentangled observers who don't want to admit that they're watching. Okay? They're just for the unique what might pop up because they don't want to alter the past, present, or future.
So you're saying they can't send money? Well, this is working out well.
No, we have a few Arcturian comedians who are crossing the line every now and then, giving a joke and dropping a joke and a punchline.
Well, the thing is, for me, is like like I say, I had the cancer going on. I was a comic for years, and the cancer put a stop on that. The ability to go out and do shows, and then analyze what you did, and doing the work of being a stand-up comic is difficult if you can't literally go out and do the work of being a stand-up comic, as so many comics around the world started to find out last April and May, when they didn't have any bookings and they lost everything. So it was hard to sort of lose that aspect of myself while I was dealing with this terminal disease and finding that it wasn't terminal, but it was still taking a long time to undo. And so I kind of, I stopped is the truth of it. And I wasn't performing anymore, although you still think funny things and you still write them down sometimes, and you still put quips down on Facebook and you make jokes and you banter, but it's not the same thing. And I kind of got used to that. And then I was improving physically and opening up my ability to go back out there and do comedy again. And then, of course, what happened to the world stopped that again. So I just feel like, for me personally, it's like the carrot on the stick, just down the road a little bit, no matter what. And when COVID was full blown, and I was like, okay, great. So
yeah, I had a similar moment with the universe. It's like, I think I'll start dating again. Lockdown. Well played, universe. Well played. You bastard. And so I want to get back into stand-up as well. And but being Australia, like Melbourne's got one dedicated comedy room. There's a lot of pubs and clubs and everything else like that. So it's extremely hard to try and make a living as a comedian. You always have to end up on morning radio so you can actually buy food. But if we went to, have you been to London?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got 78 comedy rooms there. And so I could go to England and suck and still make money. Right. Compared to be here in Australia.
That's not the best plan, though. You should go there with the intention of doing well, and you make even more.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying I will do better because I'm different and have an Australian accent. So he's funny. So yeah.
You have an American Australian accent because you've been doing American radio for so long.
I have not. How dare you?
One of the worst shows I ever had in England was there was an Australian compere, as they call them. We call them an MC here in Canada, or host.
MC here, yeah.
So this is a Nottingham, England, and gentleman goes on super high energy kind of guy, right? This Australian host, super high energy guy, and I'm going on first. I need to do well, and I'm gonna, but he's fun and crazy and high energy stuff. I don't even know his name, but I forget him now. But he was crazy, funny, high energy ginger fella. And then he introduces me as with the most disrespectful, useless introduction, which, I had to spend almost half of my set getting back. And what he said was, this next guy's from, I don't know, he's from the States, he's an American. Please welcome. And they started booing. Sorry, Andrew. They started booing me just because the guy said I was American. So now I'm walking to the stage and they're still booing me, right? Like I haven't even said anything yet. Talk about beginning from a hole, So I get on stage and they're just yelling shit at me and telling me to shut up. Anyway, so Nottingham, England in 1999 was no fan of Americans, apparently.
You should have just said you're a Canadian.
Well, I did, but they wouldn't shut the fuck up and listen. They were just so drunk, so loud, so crazy. And it was like he lost something. Like, have you ever lost a crowd, Monty?
Yeah.
You've done that as a comic, so you know how hard your next line is to get him back. Well, this guy buried me before I could even say anything. So everything I said was a struggle, and it was an argument against what he said. You know, it's like, I'm not even American. So I had to get around to making fun of Australia and making fun of gingers, as you know, which isn't really fair. But I had to do it because I knew the mindset of the crowd was like, I need to attack this guy for what he's done, because everything I'm saying isn't working here. And it took me like, I'm only doing a 20-minute set. I had to do 10 minutes to convince the crowd I'm from Canada. This guy was wrong, you know, and it was nuts.
I'll give you an example for the audience. I'll give you an example of from The Simpsons, because apparently The Simpsons can explain everything in the universe because it's been going for 500 episodes. There's a Mr. Burns show, whatever, and Smithers is the MC, and he comes out. I'd just like to, please thank the Ramones. It's Mr. Burns' birthday or whatever it is, and Smithers comes out. Thank you for the Ramones. I just want to let everyone know that a small puppy was run over in the car park and killed. Here's the comedy stylings of Homer Simpson.
That's about it. Yeah, that's.
How do you follow that?
I've had some crazy intros like that where, someone mentioned someone dying. You know, oh, that was so sad that we've lost so and so. You know, Robin Williams or something. It's so sad. Anyway, your next act. You know, it's like thanks a lot.
Exactly. See, like when you're trying to reclaim your comedy, your stage, and somebody does something like there's the classic WWE wrestling where you just attack the crowd, the city that you're at, and you just get them more and more pissed off. Yeah, and then you run out of the building when you're done.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I think the granddaddy apex of that is Bill Burr's "Fuck You Philadelphia" show.
Hell yes! Yeah. Oh my God, that was awesome.
Hey, he's in trouble now. Bill's in trouble for saying things that are funny.
No, they tried to cancel him, and it didn't work.
They tried to. Yeah, again, they tried to cancel him again. And it's done wonders for him because everyone's like, what is you? Because they got to the point where on the Grammys, he was presenting the Latino Grammy, and he just mentioned, do you think at home some feminist woke people are freaking out? Like, what's this guy doing it anyway? And then he he says the name wrong or whatever like that. The next 20 minutes after that, Twitter just explodes. Oh, he's a racist. He's not funny, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, how is he a racist? He's married to a black woman and they're extremely happy. Oh, but racists marry black people all the time. It just spiraled out of control. It's like, really? He didn't say anything offensive. He just took a pot shot at these people who got upset because he had a pot shot, but he wasn't racist or offensive or anything else. Like, it's Bill Burr. Like, you don't know, what it does says it on the tin. It's Bill Burr. You know what you're getting. And everyone's like, it just showed the cancel cultural aspect of how stupid they are. Even though his wife actually came in and said, like, someone said, I don't know Bill Burr, but he's a racist, blah, 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 blah. And his wife's just responded on Twitter, bitch, shut the fuck up.
I know, it's crazy. You know what? When I was much younger, cancel culture didn't exist as a thing. What it was if Monty Dean was on some channel saying some shit that I didn't like, I was watching a different channel. That's
free will. Oh, now you bring up free will.
That's how I was able to control the intake and the whatever I wanted to see. You know, there used to be television programs that I don't watch TV anymore, but I used to watch a television program, and if I didn't like it, I would just stop watching it, right? I would I would pick a different channel. I know this sounds radical as fuck to anybody under 25 years old, but it's really about, here's another thing. I used to, once in a while, I've been, through comedy. I never did a cruise ship, but I've been to Vegas and some other things. They have this thing called a buffet, right? And it's really extensive. It's extensive in Vegas. I mean, they really want people. There was a sign over the buffet when I was in Vegas that said, please limit your stay here to less than 3 hours. And I thought, how fucking fat have you got to be? Like, oh God, I got to make sure I stay here for 3 hours. But what I understood was there was some of the food on the table there that I don't like and I don't eat. So what I did was I chose other things and I ate those instead, and I left those things that I didn't enjoy on the table. I don't
What
know
a
why
concept.
this is a bizarre thing, though, for young people to understand. I wouldn't even think that was a story in the first place.
So
When it happened, I didn't really have a story. Hey, I ever tell you about the time I went to Vegas and there was a lot of food there, and I decided I didn't want to eat all of it, so I didn't. It's not really a joke or a story back when it happened. But now that you got so many people deciding that if something is they don't like it or they don't want it, they're going to cancel it for everybody else, and the judgment coming from these people, it makes it even more implausible that they'd be correct in the need to cancel it anyway. So I don't understand why this came into being. Why some punk who doesn't really know anything thinks he can just erase what somebody else has. It's beyond stupid, but I also don't know how he thinks he can get away with it. Then you find out they're being assisted governmentally. So that's, that's
it's control. It's simple as control. And if some people are in their frame of mind is so weak where so if people hate the band Rammstein, they sing in German, they should be cancelled. It's like they exist. That's enough. It's I mean, they've been called they're neo-Nazis because they showed footage of the German athletic team training for the 1932 Olympics in Berlin or something like that, and instantly they're Nazis, and it's like, no, they're just German, whatever. But it's that thing of like, well, it exists in reality and I don't like it, so it should be crushed from my reality. Instead of like normal people, it's like, well, I'm going to listen to Public Enemy then. It's I don't realize if you once again, The Simpsons, if you don't give like advertising, if you don't give it power, it dies.
Yeah.
So we hate this, so we're just going to make it the focal point of our existence and wonder why it's still there instead of just ignoring it and let it disappear.
Exactly. I mean, this same fact came to me. You brought up Monty Python as a reference. When I was a kid, they had that movie, Life of Brian, and no one was going to see it at all, and no one was interested. And then it got banned by a bunch of Christian preachers, or I don't know, some priests or something. And then and then there was a TV show. Should they ban this movie, which was, had high ratings, and then everybody went to go see the movie.
and found out it was extremely funny because it wasn't making fun of, it was making fun of religion and the ridiculous of how you get swept up and everything else like that. They respectfully treated Jesus. They made sure of that, but they were making fun of all the followers. And of course, and the church freaked out like, oh, this is highly blasphemous and everything else like that. And because they did a lot of research, they found out of all the horse shit that was invented. Like the reality of hell was invented in the 12th century. And that's about controlling the masses and all that type of stuff. Okay, and I know a friend of mine's mum, Irish Catholic, she loved the film. She understood and got all the jokes because it's like, we're all different. I'm not. Shh.
But if they were intelligent, though, and they didn't want you to see it, they just would have ignored it. And
like when the baby just falls out of the woman. Oh, I got another one.
Yeah.
That's in the light and the meaning of life. Yeah. Oh, I'll pick that up, would you, Deirdre? And then I have to sell most of you for medical experiments.
Speaking of
every
that
experiment sacred.
1983. So speaking of that movie, The Meaning of Life, it's great at the beginning. So you remember that scene at the beginning? That's not going to happen in a movie now either because they would freak out. And that's the scene where they're crashing the cart with the pregnant woman through the hospital doors, crashing into things, making noise. Everything is brusque. Everything is harsh. And it's quite, if that were real, it's quite cruel to the mother giving birth, right? So you shouldn't really depict that, right? But it's the reflection of the cruelty of the medical system and how brusque they really are and how they get treated. But nowadays they would say, oh, that's a bad thing to do to a woman and you shouldn't film this. And we don't, like, this is where it's gotten to. I would have thought we got tougher over time, like the callus on your thumb and stuff like that. But we've softened up over time, like they've been soaking in a Epsom salt tub of stupidity.
there's a great line from it where the mother actually says, "What should I do?" And John Cleese goes, What should I do? Nothing. You're not qualified."
Yeah,
And it's the whole scene, like the administrator, we have the machine that goes bing, bing, and everything else, like, and it's just taking the piss out of the whole medical system. It's not about the mother. Right. It's like, who are you? I'm the father. Well, you're not needed. Get out. Right. And it's just that's Monty Python. They take it to farce and then just experiment and push it up even to super farce. And that's why it was so funny. And it's who I was watching, I think it was, I can't remember who I was watching because everything blows into one thing nowadays. But they were asking, what happened to comedy? Oh, that's right. It was Nicole Arbour was talking to Glenn Beck, and they were pointing out rock and roll and comedy. What's happened now? Because rock and roll and comedy is supposed to be agitating and be on the edge and, you know, say things that don't fit the norm type thing. But now you have rock and roll stars that follow the establishment. There's no attacking the established anymore. There's not, you know, radicals and saying ideas. And yet, you know, that's why, like, I haven't watched any late night comic for about 5 years because, you know, after hearing Orange Man Bad for 4 years, I'm like, for fuck, get a new joke.
I know.
Like, remember when Stephen Colbert was funny?
Yes.
Yes.
Here's the answer to that question. Before.
All right. Moving on. Yeah. Something.
Stephen Colbert is a massive disappointment for me personally.
Same here.
I just can't even tell you how much. And one of the reasons for that is because I came very close. I know that sounds like bullshit, but I don't care. It's true. I came very close to becoming on the show with him and Steve Carell and a couple of other funny people on the Dana Carvey show, which was the Dana Carvey Mug Root Beer show, which debuted in the 90s.
Yeah.
I was a touring comic. And in 95, I auditioned for them a couple of times, and I was really close. And I was, anyway, there were technical reasons and visa, United States, Canada reasons. And then they changed the production of the show from, it was going to be a summertime show, and they backed it up earlier to January of that following year. And there was no time for me to get the paperwork. It would have been easier for them to hire somebody else, and they did.
Yeah.
But so that's how close. And I've been close a few times when I was hoping to be close. Now I wouldn't get anywhere near the fucking place. But at the time in the 90s, I had a few good years as a stand-up comic. Boom, I wanted to be a sitcom, want to get on a sitcom, you know, in the early 90s kind of thing. And I was living in Vancouver, which is just directly north of LA. And so various shots almost materialized, not quite. That was one of them. And then I loved watching that show, even though I didn't get on it, right? I loved it. I watched it. It was outrageous. Dana Carvey was nuts. It was on prime time. It upset the viewers. The first scene of the first episode was Bill Clinton talking about how nurturing he was as a president, and it was played by Dana Carvey, I am so nurturing. I'm very nurturing. He kept saying, you know, and it was this joke, and then he opens up his jacket and everything, and he's got like 6 or 8 dog teats. Like a fucking and real puppies drinking milk out of his tits. This is on at like 8:30 at night on him. so they got a strike against it. It was like the sponsors were going crazy. We can't have a guy playing the president leaking milk. So the next week they had to get a different sponsor, and I think they only got about 6 or 7 episodes on of that show. But if you look it up, it's on YouTube. It's very funny. And there it is. Yeah. So there's you got it on your screen there. There's all the puppies. And the guy on the right is Robert Smigel, who said nice things about my audition tape and stuff like that. So these guys are like, you know, I was at that level kind of thing almost. So that to see how those fellas had a career after that, that's always like a little tendril in my mind, right? Like I wonder if I was on that show, what would have happened to me, kind of thing. And then I always loved Letterman. And then you had the Stephen Colbert show, where he was basically imitating the stupidity of Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah,
that was the Colbert Report, just being deep into sarcastic, the stupid republicanism of the Bush era. And Colbert does such a great job of that. It's so funny, so expository. And And then Letterman's gone and you hate that. And then Colbert comes in. And I remember thinking, what's he even like?
Like, because he's playing a character.
How
so now we're going to see real him.
This guy, yeah, exactly. Who, you know, we don't even know what he's going to be like, you know? And so, anyway, I didn't like it. I gave him yards. I tried to watch it. I tried to enjoy it. And it just, talk about being partisan. I was so hopeful that it would be good, that it would work.
Same here.
So I'm not like biased against him, but I've come from the place where I was a fan. I was a believer. I liked the previous work. And now I can see this thing where it got so upsetting to me when the news came out. Sorry, cut me off if I'm going too long, but the news came out that the head of the network of CBS, whose name is Les Moonves, at the beginning of 2015, he had a hot mic moment where a bunch of investors were in the room, and he was going on and on and on and on about how terrible Donald Trump was going to be for America. And he didn't like him, and he had all these problems with Trump. And it doesn't matter if you have problems with Trump, do or don't. Les Moonves, the head of CBS, said to the shareholders, that he did have major problems with him, didn't like him at all. All the reasons that you could expect why he wouldn't like him were said. But he then says, but, it's going to be great for CBS because people are going to tune in to watch this guy. And so there were speeches when Bernie Sanders, and don't take my talking about these people, any of them, as an endorsement. I'm just reciting facts. Bernie Sanders was out there having like 20, 30, 50,000 people in stadiums all the time, where they had to have offshoot, like smaller outdoor facilities with screens and everything, while Hillary Clinton couldn't fill the DC DoubleTree in the basement with the accordion door to make it look like there's more people in there. And that's all going on at the same time where people are supposed to believe that, this guy, Trump, is going to be the next guy. And so, again, if you didn't like that and you were Stephen Colbert, why would you even focus on it? But that's the lie, because the head of the network decided, let's focus on this guy all the time, to the point where Bernie Sanders is out there talking to 50,000 people. Where's the CBS camera? It's over there on a stage that's empty, waiting for Trump, who's not there yet, because they don't want to miss his speech. Right? I was like, wait a minute, you guys. So then he wins the election, and Stephen Colbert comes sauntering out live. It was live. They waited until after the election was counted, and they knew that Trump won. Remember when they used to do that, folks, in the same night? Yeah, they count all the votes. So then he comes out, and Stephen Colbert is bereft. He's going, I can't believe it. I can't believe Trump won. What's going on with this world? And I sent him a tweet, and this would have been the symbolic gesture of, fuck, I never want to go down there ever. Because I know the producer of that show, the late night show, at the time anyway. I'd known that guy for years, Barry Julian. And I can't remember the exact tweet. It'd be on my Twitter, I guess. I didn't know I was going to be talking about it. But I basically said, it's your fucking fault that Trump
Exactly.
won.
It's your fucking fault.
You've been doing 10 or 12 or 15 or 20 minutes every motherfucking night advertising for this guy, doing a commercial for this guy. And now he wins and you're all upset about it? Bullshit. And now we just fast forward through all the years of, like you say, the constant jokes that are basically one joke only. Now he's gone. They're still doing jokes about him.
Yeah.
You're telling me you look at the Biden pool, you can't find a million things to make fun of in there? Holy fuck.
Yeah. Well, when Biden won.
The shittiest comics I've ever come across are the late night guys now across the board, and almost everybody else I've ever come across in the business.
That's because they don't write their own material, and their material was going over by political theory people.
Yeah.
Every piece of comedy is gone over by a political theorist. Now,
just flip it around now. Can you imagine? Just flip it around. Imagine this. Imagine if it were Biden was in and then Trump came in. So imagine if Trump came in and Trump said, we didn't have the vaccine when I first got here, but now we do. And then they go back to December when you see him getting the vaccine in his arm. Now I'm not promoting the vaccine either, but how does Biden say there was no vaccine in January or February even, when he's getting it in his arm in December? Like, what is the fucking problem?
The career politician is lying?
Yeah, again, career politician lying? Huh? What?
I used to read the presidential debates where Biden couldn't even keep a lie in a paragraph. He would start out saying one thing. By the end of the paragraph, he's completely done a 180 on his point of view. And I'm like, and people want, oh, he won. Like he had the same thing about Hillary, where he couldn't get 20 people into a town hall, and yet, as I've said before, because I like saying it, Donald Trump's doing Led Zeppelin numbers in the 70s.
Yeah.
Where there's 50,000 people like, oh, clearly Biden's more popular. With
Well,
who?
what do you think about this Putin challenge? I think it's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Apparently.
Has Biden said yes or no? Like, how are they even going to craft a response to that?
They're not going to craft a response.
They wouldn't do that because, like, Biden hasn't even done a press conference. So,
like Putin
he has done a press conference. Yes, he has. Come on.
He just did one. Putin just said something, though. Putin just said something like he took a shot at Putin for being a killer or something. Right?
Yeah.
So Putin's going like, look, you're the real killer. I wish you well. I hope you're okay and everything. But I'd love to have a debate with you, right? And there's no way this guy is going to be able to do it.
Right. Because what Putin would say would crumble American democracy, both sides.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's why I say bring it on. Sorry, Andrew.
And the interesting thing is, I saw an article. Apparently, the American intelligence community have put together a dossier basically pointing out they want to attack Russia for their influence in the 2020 election. And it's like, oh, we are going back to 2016 because it's now Russia. I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Now, once again, that's kicking the can down the road, trying to get people to fall victim because they know once Trump was out of office, all the big news agencies are going to lose their record-setting numbers, and now they're going to revisit. This is why I said they skipped season 3 and went right to season 4 of the global narrative.
Yeah, CNN in the first week of the Biden administration, they lost 44% of their ratings.
Yeah,
that's
right.
But they were number 1, and Fox News wasn't number 1 anymore. Fox News was number 3. Even though they lost 44% of the ratings, CNN jumped over MSNBC and Fox. And why? Because CNN positioned itself enough to have a little bit of both sides that the rejected Fox newsers and the rejected MSNBC newsers might watch one or two of their guys.
Yeah, might.
Exactly. And it was just a setup. Now, as the ratings get less and less and less, and the stories don't have an effect that they were, this is why I say that the COVID's going to stick around until late 2023. If they can't sell it by end, they'll kill it.
Yeah, well, they can trot out another one. COVID 25, COVID 26.
So, no. They're going to throw in Iran. They're going to throw in all this other stuff, which none of it's going to stick. And it's going to come down to, does something seep out about a senator or a congressman? Like the last time we really saw a whole bunch of purge of congressmen and senators was Bush's second term and then Obama's first term. We saw like 17 senators and 18 or 19 congressmen suddenly retire within a year.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
What I find funny is that the history books will show what ended COVID. Poor ratings.
Oh. Exactly. Poor ratings is what's going to end COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. I get into a bit of a scene today with. Go ahead, Bruce.
I was going to change the subject. You finish your thought.
Yeah. No, just saying quickly on the thing was on the COVID issue was people are dying, and then the vaccine companies are going. Yeah, but it wasn't the vaccine. But. You know, these are the people that would tell you there's no way 9/11 was an inside job because Occam's razor. So if you're gonna bring Occam's razor into it, which is not necessarily a definitive thing, the easiest thing is not always the fucking thing. It's the easiest thing for most people to think of. But for the major proponents of Occam's razor as a notion, what could be more simple than the fact that, you know, your grandmother, who's 90, took a vaccine, and within 26 hours, she's dead. And you don't believe that was from the vaccine. But last summer, if I was in a market shopping for bananas and eggs and whatever, and this woman was in the store, they would have been blaming me for killing her simply because I wasn't wearing a mask. Like, wow. So me not wearing a mask while I'm weighing vegetables is more of a risk than you literally sticking an experimental subject in your arm. And I don't understand why anybody.
Well, the medical profession did invent sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, because it's like, oh, we'll give it a vaccine. Oh, it died. Oh, it's SIDS.
Right.
No connection.
There was a plummet in SIDS deaths last year that was commensurate with the plummet in GP doctor visitations where they're getting vaccinations.
Yep. COVID also cured influenza, heart disease, falling out of a tree, getting killed in a car accident. It's amazing what this virus can do.
Decapitation as well.
Yeah.
So Bruce, you were going to change gears on something.
Yeah, I find it really interesting in the world of comedy how certain comedians, they can crest for decades and then, like, I'm thinking here of Norm Macdonald. I'm sure even the Australian and American on the call know who we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, he's going into a huge renaissance now. Like, he's never been more popular, and
that's true.
Yeah, but it's in. Try to figure that one out, Alan. Like, there's absolutely no rhyme or reason to it. Like, it's.
Why is that?
I don't know. He's always been funny, but it's like if you have it at that level, you're always going to be funny, man. You're just. It's just in your nature.
Well, I remember going to see Norm. I saw Norm. The first time I saw Norm was, I'll tell you the year. The year was 82 or 83, maybe, something like that. And it was in Toronto, Canada, at a Yuck Yucks club that was on Queen Street, not the ones that were famous uptown. It was a new one called The Studio. And I saw him there for the first time. And there was no doubt in your mind. This guy would cause in any comic the inner reflection of, should I be doing this? He was so good, and the way he painted his ability. And so what I think a lot of people like comics know this, but fans may not know this. Norm is one of the most stupid people to ever walk the planet, only that's just the exo outfit. The insides of this guy, he's a genius. So it's hilarious for a genius to parlay the exterior of a dummy, and he gets away with it brilliantly. And Letterman was like that too, and I think that's why I think that has a lot to do with Norm's affinity with Letterman, because the respect was incredibly genuine, off the hook respect. Whereas a lot of comics just want to get on a show. They don't give a shit about who, whatever. They just want to get on me, want to be seen. But I think Norm loved Dave. And in that way, Dave was also a dummy on the outside, but really smart on the inside, right? That's not every comic. Yeah.
That's not every genius. It's the genius of having the genius through a stupid lens.
Right.
Where, like, I say stupid jokes. It comes from my genius. I don't know if anyone finds it funny, but people are, you're being stupid. It's like, yeah, but if you look deeper, there's this genius to it where, like, even making fun of yourself occasionally, it's the connections and high end thought. Like, even Bill Hicks has got a great thing bit where it's like, you people come and see me so I can make connections and jokes that you could never think of. And that's all jokes. That's all jokes are, which is fascinating. You just make a connection from A to B, but it's done in a funny way, and a lot of people don't realize it. So that's why a lot of, like, George Carlin and Lenny Bruce. I mean, I haven't really seen much Lenny Bruce, but I respect him for what he did and what the ideas. Didn't really make me laugh that much, mind you. It's also it's early comedy, if that makes sense. That's the lifespan of comedy is kind of weird, and yet I can watch a Marx Brothers film from 1933 and laugh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's incredibly visceral art form too. I mean, I met Alan because I was sharing a house with a couple headliners in Canada, and coincidentally, they're all in Britain now. They've been there
Yeah.
for since 2004. But I spent a lot of time in green rooms, and I saw a lot of openers puke in the garbage can. And I'm going, oh, fuck, this is for real, man. I got a paper between me and my art. I don't have to show it till it's done. These guys are puking in garbage cans before they go on stage.
Yeah.
Yep, it's instant, which is highly addictive and extremely scary at the same time because you want that instant gratification. It's like, I say a joke, laugh, you pricks. Oh, you did. Oh, good. Let's move on.
I see a funny comment. I see a funny comment here on the chat. Somebody named Jimmy the Kid. He wrote it to everyone. So he says, comedy is in dire straits when I have to tune into a psychic show to get my laughs.
Exactly.
Well, we've been doing it for a year for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so true. Look, I'm going to say this, man. Like, when this COVID thing hit, right, I don't know why it is that almost every comic that I'm aware of, so you could say friends with, and then down next level to I know that person, and then down the next level to I have a affinity and a professional relationship with, on down to I don't know that person. But like most of the people on each one of those tiers is completely along the governmental diktat of this what's going on with COVID. They've been mad at me because I won't mask, and if damn it, I would just mask and hurry up and cheerlead on a vaccine. We can all just go back to normal. And these guys think normal is sitting in a room that used to hold 120 people that now only holds 40 or 50 because they got it done up like school desks or whatever it is. All distanced, and everybody's got the mask on. They've had comedians standing in a fucking terrarium, standing on stage, telling them like a vertical terrarium. I'm not going to participate in that. I don't want to get booked on that show. I don't want to believe all that kind of thing. I can't do it. I can't. It's not there. It's just fake, unnecessary bullshit. And
what do you think of
But most of them they want to do it, and they want to get back to that. You won't see me in that.
In the United States, they've started drive-in comedy shows.
Right, Chappelle.
Yeah, and I've heard those are well, Chappelle's is one. He's like in
next
his own,
level.
He's in his own tier, but I heard from a lot of comics who were posting about these shows. They're not fun to do, and it was a real. You're comparing it to. There's something in your soul missing because you're comparing it to going out there regularly and doing a whole bunch of shows every week, small ones and then big ones as the weekend comes. And then you compare that to you're never going to work again. And all of a sudden you got a gig at a drive-in. So there's like 6 other comics. Everybody's miles apart from each other. The cars are far apart. They're in the distance. If they think what you're doing is funny, they turn on their lights.
I'm actually going to start practicing. There's a car dealership around the corner. I'm going to go and start practicing my material to that.
Yeah, you should.
Okay. Now the thing here is comedians are having a challenge of adapting.
Yes.
That's why we do this long form show.
Right.
Okay.
You know the town crier. Remember the old days when he's got the sign on? He's ringing a bell. So I was thinking of something like that and putting a sign on, only on the front and the back is an iPad. I've got like a Bose speaker hanging from me somewhere while I go up and down and just do basically like a live walk-in show up and down the town that I'm in, just like, banging them off really quick. And it's not really a noise violation because it's no more than a car driving down the street with a loud stereo, just to stir some shit, just to say some things. Like there's no place to say things other than Zoom meetings. There's no place.
That's why we do these long form shows, so that we can get out of the stand up, punchline, deliver, punchline, laugh, next comedian. Monty and I, when we first started the show, we came up with a bunch of woke jokes and Star Wars jokes. And then when we were done with whatever jokes we heard within 25 minutes, it was just our raw personalities.
Right.
Making fun out of the baby raping lizard wizards, the Q community, the Trumpistanians or the Democrats, to the point we were laughing so hard my jaw hurt at the end of just about every show.
Oh, that's good. That ought to be like that.
And then as we're doing our 10th, 15th, and 20th show, and we're realizing the endurance that we have.
Yeah. It's a very unique show. We're sort of improvising for 2 hours, and I don't know if anyone else is doing that. Like, Chappelle can do 2 hours. It's Chappelle, and he's doing stand up, and there's usually an audience. But we sort of, I just turn. I don't really. I may think of a subject like, oh, Biden tripped up some stairs. Let's start there, and then like Bruce, this is your 3rd or 4th show. You know
Yeah.
the format now, where it's like we have ideas in the back of our mind, but we turn up and then just see what is co-created in the moment.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
like a few years ago, I wrote I was doing some thing in the summer of 18. Yeah, summer of 18, and I wound up doing. I had longer jokes all the time, just longer jokes all the time, and that's what I had. But once in a while, I had a one-liner, which wasn't really kind of thing I do very much. So I put them aside, and then I was at the show, and I thought, I'm going to read all these one-liners. Just do that. Bing, 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 right? And so, like, just in a few years, this joke went from, oh, I really like that, to, oh, you're a fucking asshole. And here's the joke. Here's the joke. It was racism will end when we all realize we're all children of the universe. Oh, and black holes matter. So that was funny then, but apparently now this means that I'm happy that people of color are marginalized to say a joke like that. And
People
I just don't believe that. I don't believe that shit at all.
These people look for anything where, like, I'm part of the geek culture, and there were people saying, oh, everything's weaponized feminism. And it's like, well, you can watch a story where a female is the main character without thinking that it's all women in blah blah, but because they're looking for it, they find it instead of just watching it unfold. Where it's like, there's 3 main characters, like in Westworld, I think season 2, there's 3 main characters that you follow, and they're all women. And it's like, well, that's how the story unfolded. But somehow that's an agenda that they put in to try and do blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're reaching now, where apparently, if there's a woman in the story, clearly it's a feminist agenda, and they're trying to change reality. It's like, you can just watch stories and let them unfold. Women do things. I know it's kind of weird.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. They used to like to vote a long time ago, and they made a big fuss about it to make sure.
They mentioned that. Yeah, it's like, how did I describe it? Suffrage. We would like to be treated equal, and then 60 years later, the second wave of feminism. No, really, we want to be treated like equals, and it's sort of. I think it got into the legal system there, and then the third wave of feminism. It's like, well, we've got everything we want, but I still hate men, so we're going to make a stink about it. And I don't know if we're on the 4th wave or but it's man hating and everything. And you got the LGB thing. Most of all that political correctness has been weaponized, and you can see, like, I'm fighting for trans rights. Are these trans people human? Yeah. Well, just go for human rights. You kind of cover everything. Oh, now you're being racist. Like, all lives matter is racist.
Yeah.
What type of thinking? It's like, I mean, I say all human lives, and that freaks them out, but that's.
But don't you think it's just a fodder for division? I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yes.
Wales? I think it's Wales or something. I think it's Wales. The UK is proposing male curfew for 6 p.m. so that women feel safe.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's going to be really hard to watch Metallica because they'll have to go on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. A university in the United States are going to have 6 different graduation ceremonies, and it's like, we're progressive. No, you're aggressive, because we're heading straight back to segregation. You idiots! Oh, we should have a black national anthem for the United States. Why? Why? Just So that's Ryan, someone, he's on Twitter, brilliant comic. He actually has a small 2-minute video of 2 guys. One's wearing, one wears a t-shirt saying woke, and the other one says racist, and they say the same points.
Right.
They agree.
Oh yeah, that guy's a good guy. He's a good guy. His name's Ryan Long. That's who you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Ryan Long.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good comic. I met him a few. When was that? A few years ago. Anyway, there was a club in Toronto that was really cool. was called The Corner, and a small club, really small. Like you can't even believe how small, but it was so cool, you know. And it was a rival to the bigger club, and this is all pre-COVID, of course. And Ryan was there. I met him there a lot of times, and I got two things to say about him only, or three things actually. Genuinely nice, really funny, hard worker. End of story. That's it.
Have you heard of there's a rapper called Tom MacDonald.
Love him.
The comic stuff, he's not a comedian, but the same geniuses in the rhymes, and he's totally independent as well. And they're basically they're not following the establishment agenda. No. And he's basically saying his truth. And Ryan does the same thing as well. That's why it's working. And especially
who's that last name you mentioned?
Ryan, the guy we were talking about.
Oh, Ryan before. Long, yeah.
There, and even you're familiar with Nicole Arbor at all?
Yes, I know Nicole. Yeah.
They're just telling their truth, but being polite about it. You know, they're not white wing supremacists. You know, all that fucking shit. They're telling their truth with common sense, and they care for everybody basically. Yeah. Without wanting, and they don't want to control, and so they're just making fun of the ridiculousness that we're seeing out there. And once I got over, because I was part of almost the Trump train, I was running behind it. Bruce was on the Trump train going, "Give me your hand, give me your hand." But when Biden won, after the small grief period of 24 hours, my comic god in me's just gone, we can work now. Biden is hilarious. And I call him Emperor Biden. I've shared memes of it's got the photo of the White House, and Emperor Biden enters the White House, and it's got a Star Destroyer floating over the top. And it just, he still looks like, Biden still looks like he's having a heart attack. So if you can tap into the comedy of it, the Biden administration, it's very hard for parody and satire nowadays because it's almost real. But now there's a gold mine, a diamond mine of comedy in the ridiculousness that we're seeing.
Exactly.
That's true.
Guys,
we're at the end of the show right now. We've been going for 3 straight hours. Alan, thank you so much for coming on. Hang on, don't disappear. Don't disappear right away. We're going to go into a breakout room in just a moment. Bruce, I know you got to go. So, Monty, giveaway for people to get a hold of you?
On YouTube, it is a Wafer Thin Entertainment. And when Odyssey does its thing, I'll be on there as well. On Facebook, it's Monty Dean. On Twitter, if you want to go into that hellscape, comedy aplenty, at Real Monty Dean. Also on Instagram, where I meme up a storm, it's Monty.Dean. And I could be seen at Forest Hill Chase tomorrow buying food.
Okay, you all know who I am. You can get a hold of me on my website, andrewbartzis.com. Find me, Andrew Bartzis, Galactic Historian, at Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and all those other places. We will be back with more shows this next week. I will be on vacation, but after that, I will return. All right, everybody, take it easy and have a great time.